Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another free-for-all Tuesday. I guess that's what we're going to go with. What's going on, everyone? How we doing out there? Happy Tuesday. Hope everyone had a lovely... fuck. I just got a message on ye old twits from one Cult of Krill. Someone farted during the Oppenheimer countdown. How funny is that? Oh, that's pretty goddamn good. What's going on, everyone? How we doing? Did you see the Aurora last night? No. I didn't know Pearl was retarded. Pearl's very retarded. I don't know if I would call this two retards fighting, more like one retard making a fool of herself and Anna just happened to be there. That's true, but that's a lot more wordy than what I put in there. So we have to brevity is the soul of wit and whatnot. But duly noted. Oh boy, I don't really have too much to say. I think dude, what is with the loud engines? I think YouTube is back trying to strangle this channel. They let me free for a little bit, but I think they're back trying to strangle the shit out of this in the algorithm. So liking the stream is super duper important. Sharing it out is much more on your social media. So please do all that. Sorry. I just whatever thing is going around here, it is just hanging on in my sinuses. Like I took a shower a little bit ago, and you know how you wash your face and you take the palm of your hand and you like rub around your eyes and on your cheeks? Dude, it like rubbing my cheeks and above my eyes with, the sinuses. It felt like sweet relief. A lot of right-leaning channels are being throttled. What can you do? What can you do? But please do hit the like, please share it out, all that stuff. We have 30-something new pop-ups down below if you want to avail yourself of any of those. Yeah, that's really all I got to say. The liking and the sharing is the most important. And if you want to unlock a dono, that means you're a super cool person who is going to get a blowjob today. I think that someone out there's going to give you a beach. Wendy Goon's wife had their baby. I did not, but that is phenomenal. Good job. Fantastic. All right, let's just get right to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this debate, our main card, has a little bit of a different format than what we did previously. We're going to have the opening statements for both of you. Those will be 5 minutes apiece. Then you'll each get 10 minutes to kind of do an interrogatory of the other. That will go back and forth. And then after that, we'll go into open debate. As you saw with some of the other debates earlier, we try to let the other person answer. I'll try to jump in as I can, but for the most part, I want you all to mix it up, all right? Have fun with it.
I think I know Pearl is, and I've seen one clip of this debate online that makes Pearl look good. Don't get me sick. I'll try not to, but stop being a thirsty bitch. Annotate this, lazy bones. Anna can still get it. Yeah, that's a fact. Anna is a very, very pretty lady. That's true. Thank you, Zach.
Sounds good.
And who is first?
I'm first.
I thought so. Anna, take it away. We got 5 minutes.
In a May 2024 appearance on Tim Pool's Culture War podcast, my opponent, Pearl Davis, declared that women aren't really doing much. We're not having kids. We're not really contributing to the economy when you look at output. In fact, she uses this ridiculous assertion to argue that women should not have the right to vote. While it's true the birth rate has declined, and we'll revisit that in a bit, women account for 47% of the American workforce. The Council of Economic Advisors found that women have contributed a
I think the reality of women not wanting to have babies probably comes from economic standards and economic issues rather than, you know, just lazy bitches being lazy. I think there's that's definitely more likely to me. I mean, there's a million reasons why women don't want to have kids. They don't want the responsibility. They want to they want to live the party life, you know, whatever. But I think the economic reasons are probably the most prevalent.
Substantial portion of the U.S. economic growth since 1970, which wouldn't have been made possible without the feminist movement. By 2017, women were responsible for nearly 40% of total gross domestic product, amounting to a whopping $7.6 trillion. Of course, that figure doesn't include the trillions of dollars in
Your ancestors didn't have running water and still had kids be fruitful and multiply. Yeah, well, my ancestors didn't pay 40% tax to a government that hates them.
unpaid labor women do every year, tending to the household, raising children, and caring for ailing parents. And when it comes to certain sectors of our economy, women are a dominant and indispensable force. Like in the healthcare industry, where they make up nearly 80% of workers, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's 16.4 million women. When it comes to education, in 1960, women earned less than 35% of all bachelor's degrees. Today, they earn roughly 58% of all bachelor's degrees, which Pearl herself benefited from after graduating from.
Dude, maybe it's because I'm older, I'm getting older, I don't know. But I do not, will not, and have not ever understood the idea of an obnoxiously loud car engine being fucking cool. Are you just trying to announce your arrival? Does the idea of subtlety and, hell, even stealth, does that even occur to you? I don't get it. Why do you want your car to sound like a fucking burp riding down the road? It is awful.
From Elmhurst University. Women also earn over 60% of master's degrees. I hope to hear Pearl explain how a more educated and skilled population somehow translates to cultural decline, especially.
Tinnitus is hella cool. And you're just a fuddy-duddy. Yeah, fuck these damn kids and their car engines and cellular phones and babies.
As we compete with China in this increasingly multipolar world. The modern feminist movement also had a major impact on decreasing domestic violence, and that's according to the U.S. Department of Justice. Rates of intimate partner violence decreased by more than 60% from 1994 to 2010. And that's thanks to protective.
That's a real interesting statistic, actually. I want to hear that one more time. Hold on. I want to pull this back.
Violence, and that's according to the U.S. Department of Justice. Rates of intimate partner violence decreased by more than 60% from 1994 to 2010.
That was only like 30 years ago, 32 years ago. Interesting. Anna Kasparian is hated by the left because she's changed a lot. God bless her. Also, the term birthing person is cringe and offensive. Yeah, I would, I wouldn't be a fan of being called a birthing person if I was, you know, a cis woman.
And that's thanks to protective order statutes and funding for shelters beginning in the 1970s and 80s.
Yeah, funding for shelters is actually a pretty good thing.
Not only did the two-income household become more financially resilient, especially during economic downturns, women gained.
I would also like to point out why people aren't having kids, because we can't. I say we. Oh, no, it is we. We can't afford to raise a family on a single income or even a double income anymore. Like the median or the average income in America is something like $30,000 or mean income, something like that. It's like $30,000 or $40,000, and it costs like $50,000 a year to raise. Like, shit is ridiculous.
The ability to leave abusive relationships, an outcome correlated with improved child health and educational attainment.
Look, I'm talking about, like, in earnest, someone calling someone a birthing person. Like, I could sit here all day and say, I don't want no chest feeding, labia lugging, having vagina owner to be stream boss, but I'm not making policies unless it's the policy about stream boss, which you guys should take out, Liz. We don't want any of the yikes people involved in running shit here. But, yeah, I forgot what I was going to say.
A culture that protects people from violence is not one that's indicative of cultural decline.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Shout out to Zach for the shin kick. Effort, buddy.
Pearl herself has benefited greatly from the feminist movement. Thanks to Title IX.
Pearl has absolutely benefited. I hope she doesn't try to claim that she has not been the beneficiary of feminism in some way, shape, or form, because she absolutely has.
In 1972, signed by Nixon, of course.
Only strike down ammo. This is Liz. That's arguably worse.
Sex-based discrimination in any school program or activity that receives federal funding is prohibited. Pearl herself had a rather impressive record playing for Elmhurst University's volleyball team, having earned all conference honors as a senior. She later
Anna did her research.
Pursued professional volleyball in London. She could have stayed in the United States and served in her role as a traditional woman, but she didn't. And she could have been the traditional chaste woman.
Oh, there's ammo. Corax is talking shit.
Living out her dream of everything women were supposed to do before feminism. But she is neither traditional nor chaste by her own admission.
Oof.
While feminists would have no problem with her personal choices, she has made a career bashing women for theirs. Critics often argue that modern feminism has weakened families and resulted in a lower birth rate. They tend to dismiss empirical evidence demonstrating the insidious impact.
I think there probably is an argument to be made about how fourth wave feminism, what is this, 2016? Fourth wave feminism has, weakened the family unit. There's definitely an argument to be made there. But I don't think it has anything to do with birth rates. I think that the birth rates and all of that that's probably solely economic. Like, I did not plan on having kids. I love my kids. But yeah, no, they are fucking expensive. And I don't blame people for going, yeah, I can't really afford it right now. I have to pay 3 times the cost of my house at the moment. I have to take out Liz Lucas as a Streamlabs boss. Like, I can't afford kids right now. Like, there's things that have to be paid for.
Impact of the internet, social media on modern relationships. They also brush economic instability under the rug, despite young people citing their personal finances as the main reason why they're holding off on marriage in the first place. In lieu of discussing those factors, Pearl spends much of her time discouraging men from getting married in the first place. During her debate with Trent Horn, she declared that men are better off shacking up without ever getting married. Her reasoning? Women are too fat and STD infected.
25%, that's a lot.
You did say that. She didn't stop to think about how they contracted the STDs in the first place. Data from the National Library of Medicine show that modern men are just as promiscuous as modern women. Men and women are in bad shape, and in the United States, we can discuss why, but feminism is not the reason.
Very good.
Yeah, saying that women have too many STDs so they shouldn't get married is actually fucking retarded. How are they all fucking the same STD, man? I'm taking off my headphones for a second. Is there one guy out there who's just spreading the clap around, just one guy, and all these bitches have to go fuck the one dude? Anna really here with the info. Anna came prepared. The fucking HUUUs.
Thank you.
Whew.
Nice job. Okay, Pearl, we got 5 minutes. You're going to be on the clock, and let's go.
Most debaters and commentators
How is the audio for you guys?
are elitists who tell average
That's a wild way to start your portion of this, Pearl. Debaters are elitist. What the fuck? What does that mean?
Americans from their ivory towers what to think and how to feel. My answer to this question not only comes from covering current events and researching the facts.
There are probably a lot of people who could have discussed why feminism is bad with Anna that would have done a much better job than Pearl. She's actually in it. Yeah, Pearl's actually stupid. They're all fucking the dishwasher.
Data and statistics, but also in my professional experience interviewing over 1,000 people in America and Western nations. Feminism has given women power, and power corrupts. And that's what's happening. Feminism is robbing men of their disposable income and their prime earning years. Feminism has empowered women. It has empowered women to be sexually promiscuous. Feminists say that they fought for women to not subject themselves to the approval of men. Why then are 5 to 10% of women between the ages of 18 to 25 on OnlyFans or other prostitution websites?
Okay, I'm not a Puritan. Shocking. This is going to be crazy for you guys to know. But I'm not seeing how women being like enjoying their young years is a bad thing. Like, nobody wants a prude fuddy-duddy. I'm not, maybe I'm missing something here. There's a big difference between an OnlyFans model and a girl who has hooked up with a few people in the past, but Pearl thinks that they are all the same exact thing, I guess. Like, I'm not getting it. Maybe. I don't know.
There are more online prostitutes in America than female Walmart employees. 1 of 3 women will catch an STD at some point in their lifetime. 90% will catch HPV, which is incurable. Feminism has empowered women to...
You know why HPV is so high? Because there's no test for it in men. You cannot test a man for HPV. So that's why it often goes unnoticed and unchecked. There's also an HPV vaccine. So there are preventative measures for this that you can take.
For 1/8 of the world population and 1/3 of Gen Z. Feminists have been so empowered to commit paternity fraud. Paternity fraud is unpunished in any state in the USA or any country in the West.
That, you know what, Song? That's very true. It is privileged for this rich girl to gripe about OF models without even considering the economic factors. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Shit, man, if I was a young woman, you better believe. If I was a young, sexy one, no, you don't even have to be sexy. People will pay for it. If I was a young, good-looking broad, hell yeah. I'd be slanging my tits on OnlyFans. Fuck yeah. Warhammer is expensive. Which is why you should consider hitting up that Streamlabs.
If done correctly, a man will have to pay for a child he was fooled into believing was his until that child reaches maturity. In some...
men can request a DNA test. Like, if you're not sure, you can request a DNA test. You can ask, like, that's part of it. Before you sign the birth certificate, you can request a DNA test. Why is she pretending that this just isn't a thing? Like, that's just silliness. I'm trying to read the chat right now. Trying to get into college or change healthcare. Big mistake. Nobody wants a hoe either. Tell me, Sinatra, would you date a woman with a body count of 50, 25, 10? I don't interrogate women when I first meet them as to how many people they've had sex with to judge their worthiness of me and my time. That's silly. I think that's a weird thing to ask.
States that man will also have to pay for that kid's college. That is slavery and is forbidden under the 13th Amendment. 1/3 of paternity tests are negative by the American Association of Blood Banks.
Oh, I gotta pull this back and hear this. Hold on.
Reaches maturity. In some states, that man will also have to pay for that kid's college. That is slavery.
I'm missing something. Hold on.
Fraud. Paternity fraud is unpunished in any state in the USA or any country in the West. If done correctly, a man will have to pay for a child he was fooled into believing was his until that child reaches maturity. In some states, that man will also have to pay for that kid's college. That is slavery and is forbidden under the 13th Amendment. 1/3 of paternity tests are negative.
No. What? Yeah. This is dumb. You're just making very sweeping arguments with nothing else. 1/3 of paternity tests are negative. Okay, but how many people get paternity tests? How many people go through this as I feel like there are much better arguments that can be made right here.
The American Association of Blood Banks. Feminism has empowered women to rob men of their time, their resources, their reputation, their children, and in the most extreme cases, their lives.
No, but that's stupid.
They do this through child support, alimony, false allegations, and paternity fraud. How many people in this arena have a brother, a father, an uncle, or a friend who has gone through this meat grinder?
One person knows somebody who had to pay child support.
Anna has been on the air for 15 years and is completely oblivious to these issues. It's a silent genocide.
That's not what genocide means. That's not what a genocide. Oh my God.
Of the lives of millions of men. Standing on the sidelines of the...
You know what? Yeah, that does happen, and it's terrible. But men are also capable of being proactive in these situations. There is nothing stopping men from getting paternity tests if they don't know.
Arena. I have 33-year combat veteran Terrence Popp. He served through 3 wars and was almost killed in 2. He got married, had 2 children, and served in the United States Army. Terrence Popp was deployed to Iraq in 2004, and as a member of the airborne infantry, he was wounded by a roadside bomb and suffered a TBI and a stroke from the blast.
Yes, that's kind of what I was going for. I'm feeling very distracted tonight. I'm sorry, the chat. I'm getting constantly distracted by the chat. People are probably getting paternity tests if they believe there's a chance that they're not the father, so it's likely there's a reason they believe that. Yeah, so 1/3 of them seem to be correct.
He was evacuated out of the country, and it took over 2 years until he had recovered. While he was recovering, his wife was plotting to divorce him. His wife murdered his 6-year-old chocolate lab out of spite because he filed for divorce first. When he confronted her, the response he got was, "I told you I did not want you living here."
Yeah, that's disgusting. That's one example, yeah.
At this point, he was forced to leave the marital home and live out of his car. The divorce took away his home, his children, and left him penniless and saddled with a child support payment he could not afford. Terrence had to pay $144,000 over a 12-year period for a divorce that his wife was empowered by.
Well, let me do some math here. 44,000. 21. 144,000 divided by 12 times 12, which is gross would be 1,000. Yeah, that's $1,000 a month. What?
Feminists to plan and execute. Terrence went into court to fight for 50-50 custody. Terrence was called a murderer and an assassin in open court and was given 96 hours a month with his children.
He had to pay $1,000 a month. Is that? Hold on, let me look this up here. What is the alimony payment? The average alimony payment is, there's no single average alimony payment of 40% higher than a single minus portion to lower income. So $1,000 doesn't seem too bad.
6 hours a month is not a father. While homeless, he spoke to many other men who would never get off the streets due to child support arrearages and penalties, and the men constantly getting arrested for unpaid child support. The disparage of losing his children and his home, and his PTSD and constant pain from his wounds, he became suicidal. While at his post in 2008, a former commander of his came to...
Okay, yeah, what happened to this one guy is probably bad. What does this have to do with the law of averages? You can point out one person all the time and say, this was bad that happened to them. Do we change the whole system? No, we actively go out of our way to avoid that. We don't make laws, and we don't run our country based off the experience of one person.
See him to secretly say his last goodbyes. The next day, Mr. Pop's former commander put on his dress blues and went to the Holy National Veteran Cemetery and blew his brains out. Terrence Pop was notified of the death and was shocked because he was planning to commit suicide in the exact same manner. So in effect, his former commander took...
Terrence Pop, why does that name sound so familiar? Terrence Pop, what? Why does that name sound so familiar? Wasn't that a YouTuber?
Took the bullet that was meant for him. Terrence Pop decided he would not kill himself and has spent the last 20 years saving 576 men from suicide with comedy. If you look to the left of the stage, Terrence is holding the dog
He's a MGTOW YouTuber. That name sounds super familiar.
tags for every life that he has saved. Now, why am I telling you this? Shout out to Terrence, yeah. Now, why am I telling you this? Because men and American veterans are put in this position because of the empowerment that feminists like.
Maybe I'm just not seeing the point. Like, what does this one thing have to do with the overarching issue?
Like Anna have pushed for. There are millions of men that have died in this country from the political power that feminism pushes. Since 1970, an estimated 1.6 million men have committed suicide.
Time. Stop there.
If feminists cared about equality, why aren't they fighting for equality in divorce and family court as hard as they are fighting for abortion, working, or becoming sex workers? Thank you.
Okay. This is gonna be a heavy one.
Yeah.
We're gonna go now to the opening interrogations. We have 10 minutes. Do we have that on the clock? Yeah, it's fading in right there. Okay, and take it away. 10 minutes.
Who's interrogating who?
Whoever wants to begin.
Aside from the specific anecdote that you shared, which of course is tragic, can you cite some actual studies that look at the statistics and back up what you say in regard to the outcomes of marriage and divorce in America?
41% of 109 rape cases reported to police in a Midwestern city were admitted to be false by complainants.
In one Midwestern
Okay, let me grab that. Anthem, I've been fighting for a paternity test for 12 years. If I go to Riot Aid and get a test kit and the kid, I'll get 6 years in prison for contempt of court. They're so certain it's my kid, they won't let me have it done. Dude, I know. Why would you be arrested for contempt of court for that? I don't know. I don't know your specific case. That's fucked up. I would get a different lawyer.
City? And which Midwestern city was that?
You know, you can go from your ivory tower and
I'm
tell
not in
people
an
what
ivory
to
tower.
think
I'm
and
on
how
this
to
debate
feel.
stage interrogating your assertions, and you've only provided an anecdote.
Right.
Because
It's
if you
not-
look at the data, which I did, of course, you'll find that women are twice as likely to fall into poverty after divorce.
Right, because they can't
Alimony
stop
is paid
spending.
out in 10% of divorces. According to the Census Bureau, the average child support payment is $441 a month, and only 60%
Right, but how
of
much are
those
they
payments
making?
get paid out.
How much?
Women do not get child custody 90% of the time, as you have asserted before. In fact, 95% of custody cases are mutually agreed upon outside of the courtroom. Women get full custody 40% of the time. Men do get full custody 20% of the time. And 40% of the time, it's shared custody, which I think is the ideal situation, assuming that neither spouse is abusive.
That is very different than what Pearl put forward.
And Pearl, excuse me, before you respond, if you could take your microphone out and hold it, it would be easier to hear you.
Okay.
Thank you for the $1, by the way, Anthem. Sorry, I'm like hyper focused on this. So guys, please hit the like button. Please shin kick. Please, yes, please shin kick Stream Boss Liz. Say that 3 times fast. Jesus Christ.
Alimony and medical care and dental are not covered by that, so a lot of times it does go above 50%. Again, you can go through the facts, the data, and the statistics and manipulate them any way that you want.
It's not
But
manipulation.
there are
Those are the
1.6
stats.
million. There are 1.6 million men in this country. Men are 9 times more likely to commit suicide after a divorce.
Compared to women, what's the number for women?
It's lower.
Really? What is it?
Jeez. Come on, just a little bit. I would keep that one to myself, Big Tro. Thank you for the 50 bits. You know, I see a lot of people saying this is why the right loses. Pearl is a very, very bad representation of this stuff.
Comparative analysis is real difficult for you, isn't it?
Okay.
The court system, as they've talked about, is very, very manipulated. But there are so many better arguments to make than what Pearl is doing. Just a little bit of research, and a little bit more articulation. This could have ended very differently.
Go ahead, Pearl.
What's your next question?
You have asserted that men shouldn't get married, that instead they should shack up.
I didn't say that.
You did say that with
did
Trent
not say
Horn.
that.
Word for word, you said it makes more sense for them to shack up, live with a girlfriend instead of getting married. Do you think the advice that you give to men is the type of advice
I didn't say that. Oh, right, yeah. Which one is it?
that will fulfill their lives? Because I'll tell you one thing, the best part of my life is my husband. I love my husband. He's my
Damn it.
rock. He's my foundation.
She's married.
And no, my husband is number one. I love my career, but you know what my career did? When I met my husband, my career was already established. He, on the other hand, was couch surfing, he was in debt, and didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. I married him anyway. You want to know why? Because
You know, that's a good point, Shelley. Pearl actually doesn't have these ideas thought out in her own head. She watches other red pill men discuss these things and she writes down their talking points. Wrong there. And that's all she has. She's arguing TikTok real Andrew Tate level shit.
Because I had the economic freedom to marry for love, not for some Chad to take care of me.
How tall is he?
Oh, he's 6'1", about your height. None, I don't want kids.
Let's not do shouting questions from there, please. Allow these two to debate each other.
Okay, what's your question?
Tell me, Sinatra, do you remember every number or summary when it's 9 times the other number? Well, if I knew what the 9 times was, I know how to do math and I could figure out what it is, yeah.
I mean, you don't really have much to answer, so I don't know what else to ask you. Do you think you're helping men by discouraging them from entering fulfilling marriages?
What happens to men if they don't pay child support?
Why? So, okay, I don't know what she's about. I have not watched this. I've just seen a couple of clips of it from AJW. But that right there, that bugs me more than it probably should.
I mean,
what happens? What happens, Anna?
You just go back, well, answer my question, then I'll answer yours. I'll repeat the question if you don't remember it.
How many men do you think get
What
arrested?
happens to
I don't know
men
what the
when they
number
don't
is,
get-
but the
What
idea that
happens
there's
to
like a
men when
huge
they
number
don't-
of men getting arrested for not doing what they're supposed to do
15%
and take care of their children, it's not a huge issue.
What happens to men when they don't
Really,
pay child support?
only 60% of child support payments get paid out.
You gotta allow her to interrogate you, not them. You gotta stop yelling questions at her.
You can minimize men's problems all you want, but I don't think you understand how privileged of a position you're in.
In what?
That is rich coming from Pearl, who is also a grown-ass adult, no kids, unmarried, but like for all intents and purposes, they are in a very similar position. Pearl is rich, she is single, and get the fuck out of here with that loud engine. She is rich, she is single, and she doesn't have the same worries that most people do.
What way? How am I privileged?
Men are the ones that are on the hook for child support. Men are the ones that are on
Women can pay child support too.
the hook for alimony. It's easy for you to tell men to just take the risk when you're not in that position.
So are you asserting that men shouldn't pay child
Men-
support following a divorce? Do you believe that
Feminists-
women should
feminists
be
wanted-
financially
feminists-
responsible 100% after a
Feminists
divorce?
wanted to be equal.
If you can't pay child support, no matter who has the kid, don't have kids. I don't know why this is an issue that it is. If you have a kid, pay for your fucking kid.
So I say be equal. If you guys want equality, 50-50 custody, no child support, no alimony, no special privileges.
Alimony is paid out in 10%
It doesn't
of
matter if
divorces.
you're part of the
It does matter.
10%.
It does matter because you make
doesn't
it
matter if
seem
you're part
like
of the 10%.
it's a widespread issue when
The
it's
tender
only
years
10%.
doctrine is a sexist law against men. That's sexist.
How is it sexist if a
have you
woman
guys-
decided
it assumes
to forego a
that-
career, decided to be a stay-at-home mother, and the marriage doesn't work out, she has no job, she has no income, so you think it's unfair to get support from her ex-husband so she can raise the kids, so she can pay?
60%.
That's the economy we live in. You cannot raise a child on a 2-parent income anymore. You can barely live off a 2-parent income anymore.
60% of kids under 5 have daycare. Daycare is an option now. You wanted to be
Does she have any idea how much fucking money daycare is? Does she have any fucking idea? Holy shit.
men.
Do you know how much
You
daycare
wanted-
costs?
Oh, fucking thank you. Holy shit, thank you.
You wanted to be men. Here you
Do you know how
have
much
it.
You
daycare
gotta let her
costs?
answer.
Do you think
You're
it's
not
free?
letting her answer. Let her answer.
A lot of things are expensive, Anna.
What do you dream about?
Hell yeah. Alan. Pretend, say sin. Alan, hello, sir. How are you? I'm glad to see you're doing well. How is the knee? I know it has been fucking cold cold here. I think it was like -9 yesterday. It was -10 or 12 today. I'm an old man. I have arthritis. My knee has been like, I took Tylenol and I had to lay down for a little bit today. It hurt so fucking bad. So how is your knee?
I mean,
That's not an answer.
Women have 85% of consumer spending. Women spend money all the time. You spend money on hair dye, you spend money on...
I've never been so grateful for a 40K interruption. We have a lot a lot of 40K interruptions. We got the $10 one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 30 new donos and like 5 40K interruptions. The newest one at the 109.99, which if you have not seen it yet is super duper orky, and we do love some orcs here. That's actually what I'm building right now. Like while I'm watching this stream, as I'm building some orcs.
Botox, you spend money.
You should think about it. I sure am.
You need to talk to a real MGTOW. I don't actually. I don't need to talk to a real MGTOW. I don't need to talk to a feminist. I don't need to talk to a MGTOW. I think that's two sides of the same coin.
You spend money all of the time.
Yep.
So...
Let me pull it back.
Money all the time. You spend money on hair. A lot of things are expensive, Anna.
Yes.
That's not an answer.
Women have 85% of consumer spending. Women spend money all the time. You spend money on hair dye, you spend money on Botox, you spend money...
You should think about it.
I do the grocery shopping because I do the cooking, because I like to cook and I'm fucking good at it. You know how many dudes I see at the grocery store compared to women? Like this is a dumb fucking point.
I sure am.
You spend money all of the time.
Yep.
So you wanted to be men, here it is. You're equal. Pay for daycare.
Equality means that when you have a child or children, you're...
Wait, Pearl just kind of shit on her own point there. You want to be equal pay for daycare. Yeah, that's the point, is that you both had a kid together. Now you both pay for daycare. Yeah, that's kind of the point. If you're getting in her example that she brought forward earlier, was the guy who had to pay $1,000 a month in alimony. A daycare on average is like $500 or $600 a month, which comes out to $2,000 to $2,400, or $500 to $600 a week, which is $2,000 to $2,400 a month. That's half or less than half via the alimony, and the average child support is like $400 a month, which is less than 1 week's worth.
You're both responsible. So the idea that the woman should take 100% of the costs on herself without any...
Yeah, I love cooking and I love going to the grocery store because I want to pick out the ingredients I think are best for me. If I tell Shelly to go to the grocery store and I go, I need one good big Vidalia onion, I need a bell pepper, I need a chili pepper, and I need 2 jalapenos. She won't know what I need. She'll just grab the first one on top.
Any help from her husband or ex-husband.
Sinatra doesn't want to talk to a real MGTOW. It's like learning Santa Claus isn't real because the world's a lot more fucked up than you. You just got lucky. No, I don't want to. Like, it's just not something I'm interested in doing. I don't need to talk to somebody on my channel if you want me to. You are more than welcome to start a channel and talk to whomever you see fit. I just have no interest in talking to MGTOWs or feminists.
Husband is ridiculous. How is that fair?
Well, how is it fair that he doesn't get 50-50 custody?
Well, first of all,
it's
why
50,
are you asserting that they don't?
It's 50% his DNA. Why can't he have 50% custody? Where
There
has
was a
feminists
study.
been? I've been
Let
on
me answer your
20
question.
She just said that I think it was 40%.
What do you dream about? What do you...
She just said that 40% is shared custody, 20% to men and 20% to women. So by her own math, it is over 50% male involvement. I'm not seeing what her point is here. I think she's kind of shitting on her own point. Both knees, and I'm in Louisville. I know the Ohio Valley weather sucks. I'm fucking right off the fucking lake, dude. So I'm getting that Canadian wind. If anybody should be angry about child support, it's you who should be getting child support for 2 kids and their deadbeat mother. I'm sorry, it's true. You know what? That's fine. I actively made the decision to not go for child support. That was a decision that I made.
And even though I should be interrogating you, I'll answer your question. Massive study out of Massachusetts that looked at 24,000 divorces. In those 25 divorces, they found that in only 8% of cases did men ask for custody. 8%.
Right, because the average American can't afford divorce fees, Anna.
But women can.
Okay. So her point is men don't ask for custody of their children because they can't afford the divorce? Yeah, I know where you are, Tyr. It's fucking cold. Yeah, you're on the lake more than I am. I think this is an ill-advised point from Pearl.
Cost
afford to raise the
$25,000
children by themselves without support from the ex-husband.
Like Shelly said in the chat, I am raising 2 boys without support from their mom. It is fucking difficult. It's not easy, so I understand. And sure, if I got child support, it might be easier, but I made the decision that was best for me, and I'm not blaming judges. I'm not blaming everyone else for my issues. That was a decision that I made.
How does that make sense?
What did you say? I didn't hear you. We were both talking.
You're complaining about the costs while simultaneously arguing that a woman should not get child support in order to raise the children that the former couple had together.
Are you guys equal or not? You want it to
Yes,
be equal.
Equality means that you're both responsible
50
for raising the children, and that includes the
so
costs
you should have
of raising the
equality,
children.
but not at the expense of men. 50-50 custody, 50-50, no child support, no alimony. That's equality. You don't want
Alimony
equality.
makes sense if the woman was a stay-at-home mother and doesn't have a source of income. How?
Okay, I think I understand Pearl's point. She's just retarded and can't make it properly. If 50-50 custody, why is the man paying child support? That was a long fucking way around for her to just get there. And, okay, you know what? I am fine with that to the point where the child, whatever the child needs, is paid for by both parents and then distributed to the in-home necessity of the child. Like if I have the kids and they need, new shirt and new shoes, I buy them that, but I don't give the mom money, but the mom also buys them the glasses or, whatever. Like that, she took the long way around a decent point. Like, she made a decent point. It was, and she's correct in what she's saying, but she's just too stupid to say it properly.
How else would she take care of the kids following a divorce?
By getting a job just like the men.
So you're saying that a woman who doesn't have recent job history is just going to willy-nilly enter the job force or workforce, I should say.
I think both of them are arguing a point that doesn't really exist anymore because it's just, this isn't reality. This isn't how things work. You can't just go get a job anymore. You especially with a work history gap. You can't just like quit working and then come back to work. Like that's not a reality.
And easily get hired.
Typically, well, and you know what? That's the next point I was going to get to. Are men paying child support if it is true 50-50 custody? Like if it's 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, or is it child support when the dad is every other weekend? Like that was my next question.
Do you guys care about this? So do you care about the children or not? Because you're making this about like.
That's what Anna should have asked. Is it 50-50 child support if it's 50-50 custody? Or I'm sorry, is it child support if it's 50-50 custody? Or is it child support if it's every other weekend custody?
The
What
poor
are you, a woman? That's an
husband, the
emotional
poor
argument.
ex-husband who doesn't want to pay the child support, doesn't want, to take on any of the responsibilities of having children in the first place. Why is it that you seem to have a problem with men carrying out their responsibilities? But when it comes to
men are dying to care about their responsibilities. Men
Really?
are fighting to be a part of their kids' lives.
what's the empirical data on that?
I don't think that's accurate, iWife, and I don't think that if it's 50. I know a few people who have split week here, week there, 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, and they don't pay child support. I don't think that's accurate. But then again, that's just what I know, and I'm also not debating this subject, and I have not looked into it past my anecdotal knowledge of people, and I don't rely on TikTok reels and shit like that for my source of information.
I don't need data. How many people in here have had a family or a friend fight
What did she just say? I'm sorry.
lives?
What's the empirical data on that?
I don't need data. How many people in here have had
No, you do, Pearl, this is a debate. You need proper data. You can't just go to the crowd and go, how many people agree with me? Like that's not that's not a good look at all. That's not even remotely a good look.
a family or
Why are you building orcs? Well, if we see the 109, that will explain it all, because orcs are best per orcs.
or a friend fight for their kid and not be
You know, I'm just going to do the one thing Pearl couldn't be bothered to do. 50 custody, child support rates. Okay. 50-50 custody isn't always an automatic zero. Oh, isn't always an automatic zero, which means most of the time it is. It's based on the state's formula considering both incomes, healthcare, and childcare costs. Okay, so that's something I didn't even consider. Like if one parent pays for the healthcare, the other one reimburses them for half. Often with the divination sharing extraordinary expenses. Yeah, okay. Ohio uses a calculator to factors of income disparity. Okay. Disparity, combined income, parenting time. 90% nights, 10% okay. Extraordinary expenses. Medical costs, education, extracurriculars are often shared in dividends. Okay, so it is not always the dad still pays. Actually, it is a unique scenario with percentage calculators if somebody pays a percentage on 50-50 custody.
able to get it. The reason that this happens, Anna, is because lawyers tell them not to fight because it's so expensive and they won't win.
See, that took 3 seconds for me to Google to show that 50-50 custody child support is for extraordinary stuff and for non-shared expenses like healthcare. And exactly, orcs are awesome. Let me pull it back so I can hear this all.
Had a family or a friend fight for their kid and not be able to get it. The reason that this happens, Anna, is because lawyers tell them not to fight because it's so expensive and they won't win.
What? No, that's not what? No, you need, that is a wild fucking claim that you need to back up, is that lawyers are telling men not even to try to get custody because they won't win. You have to bring that. What is the fucking point of a lawyer?
What is
They
that
won't
based
win.
on? You have to provide, look, Pearl, I am open to be convinced, but
I think Pearl's arguing no alimony for 50-50 custody, which makes sense. Wait, oh, no alimony. Okay, that's a different conversation. Because we kind of got stuck in the child support argument. That is a very different conversation. But, no, yeah, I agree. No child support at 50-50 custody. But that also has to account for who's paying for insurance, who's paying for glasses, who's paying for the curricular, you know, guitar, tuba, whatever the fuck. Like, if you're doing 50-50, that means 50-50.
I need more than anecdotes. I need more than vibes and feelings. Because we're talking about something serious here. We're talking about raising children. We're talking about the shared responsibility of raising children. That, of course, includes the cost.
90% of disputed custody goes to women. That's not.
Okay, Anna literally just gave the exact opposite statistic for that. That it's I already forgot what it was. 40, 20, I think is what she said, or 40, yeah, 40, 20.
Not equal.
90%, that's
alimony isn't even that much. It's usually less than the child support, and you only get 1 year per 5 year that you were married. It's not a long-term thing that goes on. Oh, so that would be very good if one of these two knew that. Yeah, I don't think alimony is much of a thing anymore.
a totally made up statistic. Where are you citing that from?
Oof, Pearl, come on.
Let's take a break there because our time actually ran up. Those opening interrogations are over. Let's take a moment here. You guys want to grab a sip of water? All right.
Oh, that looked bad. Where are you getting this from? And Pearl's just... That guy who said it happened to him. I have no proof that it happened, but he said it. Yeesh. I now understand. And here's the thing, is that what Pearl is sin is super orky. Dude, you have no idea. You have no idea. It is a spiritual kinship with Gork and Mork. Pearl is correct in what she's saying, that if it's 50-50 custody, there shouldn't be child support. But she's not even considering. And here's the thing, both of these women are childless, so take that for what it's worth. But there are still things that need to be paid for, like the healthcare, like all that shit. So even if it is 50-50, one person is going way out of pocket for healthcare expenses, and the other one isn't.
The next step is going to be 30 minutes. We're going to open it up. Again, open debate. I'd remind you guys, I know everyone's passionate about this. I get that. But we can't have multiple people debating at the same time, right? We've got one debater here. We got one debater here. Let's keep it here. All right? Let's put 30 minutes on the clock, and let's begin the open debate. Pearl, I'll let you pick up here. Go ahead.
What happens to men when they don't pay child support?
There are consequences for it, especially when
Which
there's a
are?
court order for them to
Which
carry
are?
out their responsibility and pay child support so that child can be raised.
And what happens
Do you
if they
think
don't
there
pay
shouldn't
it?
be legal responsibilities or legal consequences if they fail to carry out a court order to, take care of their kids?
I've interviewed men that have paid millions of dollars in
Don't
child
care about your
support and
interviews.
they're-
Anecdotal
This is not, facts. We need some facts here. I interviewed somebody is not a fact. I've talked to many a people in my YouTube career. I don't take it as a fact of the overarching, issue. Sin is mad about her tone. Cunflaps, what happened to you, dude? You used to be available and able to have a conversation. Now you're just a screeching retard in the chat. I don't know what happened. I am not mad about anybody's tone. You need to take a breath, buddy.
evidence doesn't matter. What I need is actual, statistic, empirical evidence. They should pay their child support. $441
What happens-
is the average child support payment. $441 a month.
Yeah, that's for someone that makes $24,000 a year.
You just told me a woman can just go to work and take care of the kids totally by herself.
How does a guy live when he's paying $500 a month on $24,000 a year?
That's a good question.
You think $500 a month is too much in child support? Do you know how much it costs to raise a child? Do you know how much childcare costs, for instance? I mean, that mother has to go to work, right? Where's the kid going to stay while that mother is working?
See, now that's a good response. Pearl asked a good question. Anna had a good response. This is worth talking about. $5 a month.
How is she going to pay for the
What happens to men when they don't
daycare?
pay child support?
Sorry, say that again?
What happens to men when they don't pay child support?
There are legal repercussions for not
What-
carrying out a court
Okay.
mandate
Do you think
to
that
do something.
Do you think that fraud should be illegal?
Absolutely.
Okay. So why is it not illegal for women to fraud men on paternity? If a man does not find out he's the father over the age of 2, he is on the hook for child support for 18 years.
Wait, no. You should have made Pearl answer your question. She kept going on saying the same thing over and over and over and over. And yeah, I agree. Men going to jail over child support's stupid because then they just can't work and can't pay child support. She asked Anna the same question over and over. How is a man supposed to pay $500 a month if he makes $24,000 a year? And then Anna responded to that question, and Pearl just ignored her response.
Don't know
where
what
have
the
you
law
been on
is
this
when it
issue?
comes to
A
that.
third-
But it's wrong. If you're lying up paternity, that is wrong, and there should be legal
Well,
consequences
why
for
haven't
that.
feminists fought?
It's that simple.
Then why aren't feminists fighting for it, Anna?
Because feminists fight for women, obviously.
Right. That's my point.
Yeah.
At the expense of men.
I don't think that was the point you thought it was.
You guys want to believe women at the expense of men. Why isn't Amber Heard in jail? Because of the Me Too movement. You guys pushed believing all rape victims, and now we have rape.
Amber Heard had to pay out a massive
Let her
settlement.
continue her statement.
Yeah, but why isn't she in jail?
You want her in jail?
Yes.
Well,
He ruined
the
his
penalties
life.
for defamation are what the court's decision is, right? You want people to go to prison for defamation?
He had to go to 2 different countries to clear his name. Why
okay.
isn't she in
Yeah, okay. Amber Heard probably should have went to jail. Next question.
jail? He lost millions of dollars.
To be clear, you think the penalty for defamation is prison time?
I think the penalty for a false accusation is that the woman should get the same time that he would have gotten if he was found guilty.
Men
Okay. All right. Agreed. Next point.
don't go to prison for defamation.
And see, this is the problem with feminists. You want all these freedoms, but you won't actually be equal.
I do
Be
want
equal.
equality.
No, if you wanted to be equal, you would fight for 50-50 child support, no alimony.
50-50 custody.
No alimony. So again, if a woman decided to forego working, decided to stay home to raise the children, and the marriage doesn't work out, she's got no income whatsoever, she
Well,
doesn't
number
deserve
one,
any
women
alimony.
aren't even doing that. Number one, that's not even women are not staying home with the kids. And number two, you have daycare.
A lot of women
You
do
have-
these days,
you
actually.
have daycare as
the
a choice.
the traditional
Again.
women who want to stay home, they want to be traditional wives. And you trash them all the time, which I don't understand.
if
It
feminists
seems like
cared
women
about
can't do anything
equality,
right when it
look.
comes to you, right?
If
They're
feminists-
stay-at-home moms,
if-
they're
Look,
traditional,
respond.
they're...
You can answer her question,
I
let her respond.
understand that you can personally attack me. That's
I'm not personally attacking you. These
What was she was talking about stuff Pearl said? How is see, that's the wild thing. Is you're just quoting what they said. Now you're like, it's personal. What? What?
are things that you have said on the record multiple times.
But if you cared about equality, you would care about false accusations. You would
I do care about false accusations.
No, you
yep.
don't.
You don't know me. What? You don't know what I care about.
Look, all right. Let's talk about rights that men.
Holy shit. YouTube is throttling the fuck out of my channel. Oh, good lord. That sucks. Guys, please hit the like. Please share it out. All that stuff. If you want to support, you know how to do that. Maybe we'll have to jump back to the silent sin. I thought we were good over here, but I guess that was a temporary.
Do not have. Men
I wonder if maybe we should be dual streaming to both. I don't want to restart the stream, but I'm going to keep that in mind for next time.
do not have the right to be enlisted in selective service. You know, we have 125K men who were drafted and buried overseas. Think about that over a second. You talk about the oppressions of the past, but how many men died in World War I and World War II and had no choice? And yet Anna complains about oppression. Men do not have the right to face their accuser in court when they have a false allegation and for personal protection orders.
True star.
That strips constitutional rights away from the man. Women go before a judge and say they don't feel
Yeah, no, Amber Heard was a crazy person and should probably be in a mental hospital. I don't think anyone's really arguing that. Should she go to jail though? I don't think that was an option. I don't think Johnny Depp was in jeopardy of going to jail.
And more than likely a PP order.
Shelly, maybe, I don't know. You know, fucking with the YouTube algorithm is very hard to like nail down. Maybe I would be better off like streaming to one channel and then taking it down from the other one and going, if you want to watch. Actually, that's not a horrible idea. Maybe I'll do that. Because I dual stream to Twitch. Like, we're live on Twitch right now. I think we have like 3 or 4 people over on Twitch. But maybe that's going to be the move. Dual stream to both channels and take it down. Probably take it down from the Silent Sin and tell everyone if they want to watch the replay, it'll be over here. But just to get eyes on it. I don't know. Just I'm spitballing.
Will be issued. The man was not in court, had no say, has no defense, and does not get to face his accuser.
It's just the one with the liver boob. Wait, I have that as a sound clip, I think. Oh yeah, I moved all the sounds. God damn it.
That is done en masse, and many servicemen and first responders lose their careers over.
No, you're good, perfectly faded, and I'm glad to see you. Sorry, I've put my orc down. The chat now has my undivided attention. I'm sorry.
Over this because it strips a man's Second Amendment rights away based on no evidence. Men do not have the right to raise their children. Divorce is no fault, but when it comes to child custody, it's always the man's fault. He loses his children to the system.
I have been through, fought in the system. You need a decent lawyer.
96 hours a month the father does not make. Men have longer prison sentences. Women get a third of the time for the same crime. Where are the feminists fighting for equality on that issue? There have been
if we want to talk about the prison disparity and the crime disparity, yeah, we can absolutely have that conversation. But we need data, not, hey, I talked to a dude.
There has been rampant discrimination against better qualified men in hiring across multiple industries. Men pay more child support, and child support orders are not enforced at the same rates between men and women.
What?
Women are more likely
women pay
not
child
to
support.
pay
Fascinating.
and are prosecuted for non-payment at lower rates. Men cannot opt out of parenthood. Men have very few domestic violence shelters and are not taken seriously when they're domestic violence victims.
I agree on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Men, white men in particular, are discriminated against when it comes to hiring and educational attainment.
True.
The Duluth model is a model that law enforcement, courts, and counselors use automatically that assumes men are the aggressor. The tender years doctrine is a guideline in divorce used to justify removing the father from the child's life. I want
to back up through Pearl because I just looked down at the stream boss because now I'm paying attention again. Liz is at 129,000 HP. That is a solid one hit to take Liz out. And, you know, we don't want any of these feminists, these women around here. We don't like those types, so we want to take her out as Stream Boss immediately.
Discriminated against when it comes to hiring and educational attainment.
True.
The Duluth model is a model that law enforcement, courts, and counselors use automatically that assumes men are the aggressor. The tender years doctrine is a guideline in divorce used to justify removing the father from the child's life. The only institutional sexism that exists is institutional sexism that discriminates against men in favor of women. Furthermore, U.S. courts do not require receipts to show how that money is spent by the custodial parent, unless there's overwhelming evidence of starvation, malnutrition, or severe child abuse. There are numerous reports of custodial...
Okay, she's been right on like 2 out of 15 things she's named right now.
Want the government to check receipts and see, like...
Let's let her respond to some of that.
Hold on, let's understand something. You want government to be so big that you literally have the government looking at receipts to see what a
This
mother...
might strike some viewers as harsh, but I believe everyone involved in this story should die.
Call to girl, thank you for the night. Oh, that's refreshing and accurate. Thank you.
Let's understand something. You want government to be so big that you literally have the government looking at receipts to see what a mother is spending the money on? That's insane.
I want no child support, no alimony, 50-50.
Yeah, because you're crazy and you don't live in reality.
Yeah, that is completely unrealistic. You cannot. That's not the way it is. You cannot have every case blanket 50-50 custody, every case blanket, and there's alimony really is a thing of the past. But yeah, that's just not. That's not reality. Like, some people cannot do 50-50.
I want equality. I'm more of a feminist than you, Anna. Because I say if you want to vote, be in selective service. Be on the front lines just like the men are.
Who do you think gives birth to and raises those soldiers?
What does that have to do with anything?
Because you assert that women shouldn't be allowed to vote because they're not all in mandatory military service.
I say be equal.
The draft should be gone. I think everyone can agree with that the draft should be gone. I'm not going to be compelled. Well, I think I'm aged out of it by now. But I'm not going to be compelled by the government to go die for Israel. No, thank you.
You want to vote, do what the
good luck with that, Sin. It was so shit. I'm banished to the VOD realm. Oof.
men do. Men are fined $125,000.
Should women be included in combat? Should women be included in combat?
Yes.
Okay.
Do what the men do.
Fair.
Do what the men do.
Yeah, fair. Agreed. Next. Next.
Okay, yeah, I agree. We agree on this one. What's the next point?
Nothing? Okay. I want to...
See, this would be a much... I love a good debate. This is not a good debate.
I want to know what your ideal woman is. Because if you are a traditional conservative woman who's married, staying at home, raising kids, you trash them.
There's no such thing as a traditional woman. They cannot be traditional in 2025 because women will always have the
right at one of the shit parts. What's going on, Delta? How you doing, buddy?
leverage.
What does that mean? What does it mean that women will always have the leverage?
Women have child support to fall back on. Women have alimony.
Does she think that you can just live off of child support and alimony? I think the combination of the two of those is about like maybe $600 a month.
So automatically
10% of divorces end with alimony settlements.
And
10%.
And they go.
You just ignore the stats.
They
you
go
just move
from
on.
men to women. They go from men to women. Billions of dollars every year.
I thought you said earlier that
Billions
women
of
are paying
dollars of-
alimony.
Billions of dollars of wealth every year is transferred from men to women.
Based on what? Where are you
through
getting that
family
information
court.
from? Are you just making it up?
Look, we have it. We're excited. We can get it to you at the end.
No, I want to hear that statistic right now. Billions and billions of dollars, okay?
You didn't want to submit. Where are your sources? You didn't want to submit them ahead of time. You did.
The Census Bureau, Bureau of Labor Statistics. I cited everything I mentioned. Pull it up.
Whoever in the audience just yelled, "Jamie, pull that shit up," is a hero.
Pearl, the main thing I want people to understand, okay? Pearl's gonna trash women no matter what. That's fine.
I'm not trashing
But
them.
my biggest gripe with you is you're discouraging people from entering marriages.
I don't tell men what to do. Sell me out.
You
okay,
advise
Anna.
men to avoid marriage.
So yeah, what did he say? Someone in the back yelled, "Pull that shit up, Jamie."
Sell me on marriage. What do men get out of marriage?
That's sad. It's sad that people think that.
The thing is like I am an adult man. I'm 32 years old. I am in a long-time committed relationship with a wonderful woman. If we ever choose to get in a contract with the government, that would be a decision made then. But the fact of the matter is, I am not going to Anna Kasparian or Pearl Davis ever in my life for relationship advice. I don't give a shit what one married childless woman and one unmarried childless woman thinks about marriage. I don't care what either one of them think about the subject. That it is just irrelevant to me. So this is leaning what? Okay, so this is leaning the Santa Claus isn't real for adults. Look up the website. The guy's name is Terrence Popp. He has the numbers you were looking for earlier. Sinatra, you're basically Steven Crowder before his divorce. You won the lot. Well, I'm not gambling the lot. That's the thing. I'm not risking my shit the way Crowder did. But I'll take a look at that later. Anthem, thank you.
It really is. You get a partner. You get a teammate.
Why are you not pausing? What about common law, Sinatra? They might already be married according to the state that you live in. I don't think common law is a thing in what states is common law marriage recognized? Yeah, it's only a couple: Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Montana. Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Montana, Rhode Island, Texas, Utah, and DC. So not a lot. Not a lot. Yes, big stomps. Sorry I missed you last week, but let's see what this unlocks. Love you, Sin. No more than 6% homo. Thank you very much, Fostonia. Cult to Curl made a great point earlier. He said, just wait for the right woman to marry. That just makes the most sense to me. You're not going to point out that Anna has no sources, Absolute Cinema. Anna did cite the sources she had. She literally just did. Like 30 seconds ago, she just cited them. What?
You get to build a life together, and it's...
And can we get a big thank you to Fostonia in the chat? Thank you very much. Fucking spam bots over on Twitch are ridiculous. I got to annotate that one.
beautiful. I feel like misery loves company in this situation. And how would you know what you get out of marriage if you haven't experienced marriage in the first place? I'm not saying that as a personal attack. I really hope that Pearl meets the love of her life and gets married. It's not about that. But you trash it without really understanding what the benefits are.
Why do we have phrases like it's cheaper to keep her?
Dude.
Pearl,
Answer the question.
divorce is expensive. And by the way, on purpose, to discourage people from getting divorced in the first place.
Why do we have phrases like happy wife, happy life?
Because it's true.
Yeah, that is true. Happy spouse, happy house. What is this thing? Why do we have phrases like it's cheaper to keep her and happy wife, happy life? Because your life is going to be exponentially better if you concern yourself with your partner's happiness. This is dumb.
Same with happy husband, happy life. I don't want to come home to an angry husband.
But that's not a phrase.
Do you have any
is
other,
it?
like...
That's not a phrase. Yes, it is. I just said what the phrase was. Yeah, you should want to make your wife happy. Why does Pearl think it's cool to like purposely have an unhappy spouse living at home? Is that why she's perpetually single?
catchphrase or slogan you want to throw at me?
What do men get out of marriage?
They get a partner.
That gains 25 pounds in the first 5 years.
Men get pretty fat too. I don't know if you've
Yes, we do. There's a reason why every TV dad is depicted like Homer, except, you know, there's discrepancies from this. I shouldn't say every. Like Homer Simpson and all that, because men get fat. Like it's a thing. Women also get fat.
done a comparative analysis on that. They actually end up gaining more weight than their wives do. And who cares?
Men.
I do.
I mean, have a conversation with your partner.
But then again, I also went through the fucking rigmarole of losing a whole bunch of weight, so take that for what it's worth.
Encourage her.
How
Be an adult.
How can men and women be equal?
Especially if she's giving you
How can men
children.
and women be equal when one is expected to die for the other?
What? It's called what? I don't get it. I don't understand.
I don't expect anyone to die for anyone else. I don't know what that even comes
Yeah,
from.
but men are willing to die for you every day. The men in the police force, the men in the military.
What about the women in the police force?
They're 10%, and they cause
So
many
what?
problems.
Who cares what percentage?
How old is Pearl? I don't know. I think she's like 50. I have no idea. I have actually no idea. I couldn't even guess.
Women make up of the police force.
Yeah,
They're in
but
the police force. My sister-in-law's a cop, actually.
They can't do the same jobs. There's videos on the
should
internet
see my
everywhere of
sister-in-law.
women getting their guns taken because they're not strong enough.
Are you just making things up? Pearl, what are you doing? Like,
Anthem, I don't understand what that means. Is Sinatra soap blue pill? It's hilarious. He's got about 4 more years of life before he hits one of the milestones where a lot of divorce happens. 40 sucks. Dude, that... Can someone translate that into English, please?
seriously. Next question.
Yeah, I don't like the idea. Look, if I'm in a shootout with some fucking gangbangers and a woman cop pulls up, I'm gonna call customer service. Like I don't want women cops showing up. That's just a fact. Riveting. Fucking, this is a riveting debate, guys. Good job.
Do you realize how good you have it in this country?
Absolutely.
He's saying you and Shelly will get divorced because you got old. But we're not married. I just said we're not married.
best country in the world.
And you get to live the life you live at the expense of men.
No, that's not true.
That is true.
Show me how.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone is super jazzed about women cops. Like, it's just, don't, look, man, if I'm calling the cops, it's already bad news bears. Like I said earlier, if I'm in a fucking shootout with some gangbangers and shit, like, don't send Officer Fake Gamer Cat over here, please. Send Officer Cult of Krill. Send Officer Fostonia. Please send Officer Delta Cross. Do not send Officer Ammo.
You know how many men die every year? There are men that die every year to get you crab.
How many women die every year?
Most importantly, please don't send me Officer Sassy Shelley, because it's too loud. I don't like it.
There are men that die every year to get you crab.
How many women die every year during childbirth?
Not many.
This country has the highest maternal mortality rate of any developed country. So a lot of...
See, now that is a great fucking point, but not the one she thinks she's making. That is a point about how the insurance companies are way too invested in our healthcare industry than providing actual healthcare.
Women do die as a result of pregnancy and childbirth, yes.
Honestly, it would be so much better for Pearl right now to go, you know what, I was just woefully unprepared for this debate. I did not prepare. It would be so much more respectable for her to say that. This is 911, call for Anna and Pearl. I think Pearl could make a great shield. Dude, I just got actual douche chills from that silence. Ooh. I gotta pull that back.
A lot of women do die as a result of pregnancy and childbirth, yes.
Pearl just go, I fucked up. It would be so much more respectable. Like, I would go, okay, she acknowledged it. She knew that she was kind of outclassed, and she didn't say anything. She didn't say anything. Oh, yeah, that's true. We are Burning Man married. Yeah, I forgot about that. Just concede and say you weren't prepared. Ooh. I actually have chill. The cringe is flowing through me. Yeah. Yeah, overusing abortion, it can hurt your later ability to have children. That's true. Dude, I'm like looking at my Pink Floyd poster on the wall, looking at my half-built shit here on the desk. I'm gonna take a drink of water. I kind of want to fast forward through this.
This is painful, man.
Pearl, just call it. Just go, I fucked up.
Do you have any other questions for me?
Officer Fastoni, are you coming when I put the 911 call out there?
All right.
Dude, oh my God. Oh my, Oof. Hi, chat. How we doing? Oh, is there more video after? We're like halfway done, too. I think we're right at the halfway mark. I don't know how you continue on from this. Ooh, Anna debated AJW, really? No, it's because you're chatting a lot, Tier. You know that look when you're... Oh, fuck, babe. Send me the picture of Eve with the fucking garbage again. Because that would be perfect to pull up. Pearl's just not good at debate. She's good at talking to her on her own little show when she talks to OF ho bags, making them look stupid. That's it. Yeah. Pierce Morgan was a delicate flower to Pearl compared to Anna Kasparian. Yeah, Anna, yeah. Anna came prepared. What life-threatening thing? You have to chop it up instead of removing it. I asked Ron Paul that. He said 30,000 plus deliveries one time was her claim. Whoa. Would you like having a female surgeon? I don't care who my surgeon is, as long as it's not bottom of the class, which would almost guarantee that it's a male surgeon. Did you know Pearl left Destiny? Get the fuck out of here. How? How did Pearl bang Destiny? I'm vacuuming the front lawn as we speak like this. Would have been better. I thought you said what? Babe, where's the picture? I'm trying to eat up time so you can send it, because that's exactly what Ammo's talking about. Where'd that message go? I have to scroll back for it. You know when your dog's in trouble, you catch them in the act and they're just avoiding eye contact? Oh, babe, where's the thing? 3,000, not 30,000. They're easier to root around in my insides. I think Destiny will bang anything. Look, man, I'm usually down for a bear wrestle, but I don't think Pearl's the one for me. She admitted it in the... No, fuck, why'd you send it on... I don't want to open up Facebook. You already have the stream on 1.75 right now. We're watching on reality speed, baby. We are reality speeding this. Look at this. Look at this fucking... This is exactly how Anna looks right now. Look at... Caught in the act. That's Pearl. That's exactly how Pearl looks. Caught in the fucking act. Ugh. Okay, Lauren Southern I would absolutely do. That's fantastic. Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely would do that. This is exactly how Pearl looks right now. Oops.
Should I move on? Like, what are we doing now?
Can I ask a couple questions?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, let's just jump in here. So why don't we do this? I'll ask you one and then I'll ask you one and we'll kind of go back and forth. I kind of half jokingly said at the beginning, like Pearl had mentioned, I think you actually said it here too, that you believe you...
Ammo, I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. I'm going to risk it for the biscuit, baby.
Maybe more of a feminist. Do you consider yourself to be a feminist, and how would you define that?
I don't consider myself to be a feminist, mainly because it's a loaded word, and there are certain outcomes from certain waves of feminism that I don't agree with, particularly minimizing the importance of men in society. I do think that there is, you know, especially the third wave of feminism that's done that. I personally really value masculine men, and I don't appreciate feminists speaking on behalf of all women in regard to what women prefer. I think the Me Too movement started off as a
advocates. Why does he get a gold microphone?
legitimate grievance with women who were legitimately...
Oh, hey, it's Eve. You want to see another really cute picture of Eve? Look at her being a snow dog. She's such a good snow dog. Oh, no. There we go. Look at you being such a good snow dog. Look at her. Just sleeping in the fucking... She's a sleepy girl out in the tundra. She loves it. I had to check on your favorite seal. Look at her.
Abused, and it devolved into something laughable and ridiculous. Especially when, you know, someone like Aziz Ansari gets accused of being like some sort of sexual predator when he clearly wasn't. So
Yeah, that was horrible. And I love that Anna is bringing that point up because that dude's whole career got ruined because of that. And Anna's saying, no, that's bad. Don't do that.
I just don't like how loaded that word is. What I actually genuinely want is equality among the sexes. I'm not looking for women to have an upper hand over men at all. But we need to be based in reality, and we need to look at the statistics and figure out what's really going on. If men are getting a raw deal as a result of divorces, then yeah, the laws need to change. And I genuinely thought prior to this debate that they were getting the raw end of the deal. But as I researched this, I realized I was believing in outdated myths. So, yeah.
Pearl, let me ask you this. Do you believe and obviously you are citing a lot of anecdotal stories.
Oof.
I do think it's fair to point out every anecdotal story is someone's story, right? So they're not fake stories and they're not meaningless, obviously, to the people who live those.
Yes, because people, I'm going to spit all over myself. Because people don't lie, right? Nobody would ever lie, especially on the internet.
Realities, in a lot of cases, they're very painful. Because of your platform, you speak to a lot of those people. How much is that informing where you're coming from in this debate? Is the real stories of people who have been hurt by this stuff?
I mean, I've interviewed 1,000 people. I interviewed a guy who had his kid transitioned and there was nothing he could do about it. I interviewed another guy and he spent $300,000 trying to get his kid back. He actually went overseas to Ukraine during the war, just trying to be in his kid's life. So yeah, it impacts it a lot. Yeah, I've interviewed so many men that want nothing more than to just be a dad and see their kid. They don't even care about the money. They just want to see their children. And if you ask Anna, it doesn't exist, but if you ask...
Statistically, now while those cases are terrible, if they are the way she has portrayed them, yeah, that's bad. But statistically, 1 or 2 cases out of hundreds and hundreds of thousands don't really matter.
Any man, like everybody knows somebody that it's happened to. And commentators can...
Many people buy into the propagandized version of the 50s without knowing the context. Well, and the biggest thing with it is the economic factors. We will never see an economy like we did in the 50s because that was mostly built on post-World War II world economy, and where we completely Jesus Christ, we completely dominated the auto industry.
You know, they can try to minimize it. They can talk from their ivory towers and pretend it's not happening.
Yeah, Pearl's bragging about interviewing 1,000 men. Did you guys hear what Bonnie Plute?
But there's a genocide of millions of men that's going on in this country.
You use the
A
word,
genocide?
I was going to say
1.6 million men commit suicide, have committed suicide since 1970.
Similar rates of women also attempt suicide but fail because they usually don't resort to more violent means of
Yeah, they don't use as permanent of a measure.
ending their own lives.
Right,
So they'll
but
take
why,
pills.
But why is that? Why is it that every time we bring up men, you have to bring up women?
Because we're doing a comparative analysis here. You can't just throw out
Right,
statistics
right,
without
but
comparing it to what the rates are among women.
What I'm pointing out is, I just pointed out that by 2050, more men will have committed suicide than all of the world wars combined. And your first response was, well, women commit suicide.
What? If we wait another 35, 40, no, not literally. If we wait another 25 or 30 years, since recorded history, more men would have committed suicide than died in both world wars. That is, I get her point, but that is a silly way to make it.
Suicide too.
Because it is a problem that is inflicting both sexes in this country. It is a tragedy and should be taken seriously rather than this weird sex war.
But it's not going to be...
She could have talked about the effects on feminism, on culture of America or its entertainment. Yeah, just point to the Star Wars movies. Those are fucking terrible.
taken seriously when you pretend it's not going on.
It is going on. Are you kidding me? I mean, how many of our soldiers, our veterans, come back to the United States after multiple deployments, do not get treatment or help with PTSD and other mental issues as a result of being deployed multiple times.
Right.
Like, that's a real problem. How come you don't
Right,
talk about
but-
that?
yeah, but
you
they
blame
come-
it on
they
marriage.
come-
That is a phenomenal point, actually. That is a point in revamping and changing the bureaucracy in the VA system.
And divorce
home,
instead.
Right, because those soldiers come home to an empty house.
You think that divorce
They're-
is the reason for most of
men are
these
9
suicides?
men are 9 times more likely to commit suicide after
How many
a
more
divorce.
times likely are women to commit suicide after a divorce?
What about the women?
You don't know the number,
What
right?
about-
Oh, we just circled right back. This has been a big I thought I talked in big circles. Jesus Christ.
Because you
What
didn't even
about-
care to look
what-
into it.
What about the women, though? That's always what you go to. And that's kind of what I'm trying to point out is feminists don't care about male issues. They don't. They do not care about equality. Because whenever you ask them for real equality,
Pearl, my point is that suicide is not just a male issue. It is a huge problem in this country. Women who try to end their own lives are less successful because, again, they're less likely to use a gun, for instance, or hang themselves. They'll take pills, it'll fail. It's just a tragic thing all around. But if you actually care about suicide rates, then you would want to know what's causing the suicide rates or the attempts at suicide.
Divorce.
What can we do as a society?
No. Pearl, no, that is not at all. Divorce is not causing the suicide rates. There are in multiple order of magnitude issues in the country other than divorce that cause suicide rates. Why would Pearl just say it's only divorce? What is the average suicide? What is the highest? And this is something, if you guys remember way back that I have talked about a ton. It's overdoses, drugs. I think that was number 1 reason for suicide.
To help people
Number 2, I guarantee, is economic.
to prevent that from happening, and you wouldn't make it specifically and solely an issue that inflicts one sex over the other.
again, I mean, you're just proving my point because we talk about male issues, you keep bringing it back to the women. Look,
I just want
I
you
mean-
to compare the stats you're spewing right now
Okay.
with something to compare it to.
Okay. Do you think that women should be on the front lines of the military like the men?
No.
If they can pass the physical test necessary to do
you
so,
think,
yeah.
Do you think women should be in selective service? Like the men?
Was that the
Yes,
draft?
yeah.
No.
Okay, and they should be on the front lines as infantrymen.
If they are physically capable of doing it, yes.
Okay, so no.
So you want to put people who aren't physically I mean, obese men wouldn't be put on the front lines.
Do you think women should be jailed for false accusations?
Depends on what the false accusations are. If
Just
she's
yes or
falsely
no?
accusing someone of rape, for
Just yes
instance,
or no?
yes.
Just so-
Real quick, because I can just take the time to Google most suicide deaths by men are not OD. Few, 15. 7 out of 10 preventable opioid overdose death victims are male, 54,000 compared to 20,000 in female in 2023.
Okay, thank you. I agree. Do you think that child custody should be 50-50?
As long as the court determines that both parents are capable of being caretakers.
See, that is such a nebulous point that you cannot. There are so many factors that go into that. Do both parents want custody? Is one parent okay with paying child support and only having custody on the weekend? Like, there are so many things that go into this this is just silly.
Yes. In fact, that's the ideal situation.
Ham and beans, that's very true. And Liz is sitting at less than $10 worth of HP. Guys, I think we've all agreed that in this debate, we've come to the conclusion that women are terrible. Thus, we should not have one as a stream boss.
Okay, so yes.
Both of these women are terrible. Both of these women are stupid, but Pearl's a bigger retard. Hence the stream goal.
Yes.
All right, do you believe in alimony?
I believe in alimony in specific cases where the woman decided to forego having a career and working, decided to stay home and raise the kids. In those cases, I believe she deserves alimony, yes.
But that's a privilege.
You're ridiculous. Anyway, next, move
Wait,
on.
you said it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
I need to hear that point again. I was reading chat.
So yes.
Yes.
All right, do you believe in alimony?
I believe in alimony in specific cases where the woman decided to forego having a career and working, decided to stay home and raise the kids. In those cases, I believe she deserves alimony, yes.
But that's a privilege.
What? A woman did not pursue a career in order to stay home and take care of the kids. They should get alimony.
Safe to say I'm the biggest, the largest. Been stepping up since my mama stayed in them apartments. Regardless, my daddy told me keep the heat even when I'm in forest. I'm heartless, cause these niggas is hating on me because I'm the biggest, the largest, the biggest.
That was ammo because women. Like, okay, I guess ammo's gonna. And you know what? Ammo is an acceptable woman stream boss. Thank you, Ammo.
You're ridiculous. Anyway,
next,
move on.
You said it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous,
that it's a privilege to stay home with your
coming
kids.
from a girl who grew up in an affluent situation with incredibly wealthy parents. You don't know anything.
From what I understand, well, from the one time I knew that alimony was on the table in a divorce, it was 1 year per 5 years of marriage, apparently.
About struggling economically or financially. So to tell a single mother who decided to stay home and raise her children instead of work that she doesn't deserve a penny to raise her kids after a divorce is the most privileged piece of shit thing to say.
Yeah, I have a hard time disagreeing with what Anna's saying right there. By the way, thank you, Ammo. I appreciate it. Welcome as Stream Boss with a pretty hefty HP. I think Anna's right here because that's the thing is if you as a man get married with a woman who is building a career, starting a career, you have a child, you guys have the conversation, and then the woman decides she is not going to pursue the career. She's going to stay home and raise the kid as a stay-at-home parent. Cool. They break up. The woman gets nothing. She gave up a career when they both could have been raising the kid. No. I think Anna is pretty spot on right there. Alimony versus child support. Child support is obviously money paid to the custodian of the parent for the raising of the child. Alimony is money paid to the person, which is usually the woman who made less during the marriage, to keep them afloat till they can get their shit back together.
This is the type of nagging that drives men to suicide.
Good. But I'm married.
Jesus Christ, Pearl. You just keep going. Your point was correct and I was wrong. Now this is why men kill themselves. If you were the champion of this, you would not flippantly throw that around in such an easy manner.
Married and you're not, so next.
Oh, Anna right back with the I'm married and you're not. Oof.
Jesus Christ. I get it.
God, the fucking silence is so loud. Holy shit.
A little harder to debate someone who's not an OnlyFans girl, right?
Wow. Oof. Dude, even someone in the chat, Jesus Christ, I'm so brain rotted by the internet. Even someone in the audience was like, not wrong. Oof.
Never. I don't need to. Not that I'm judging.
It's why isn't paternity fraud illegal?
We've been over this already.
It's estimated 6% of men are fathering children that are not theirs.
I don't really believe your stats. Like, where are you getting that
The American Blood
stat
Bank
from?
Association. Are you happy?
Okay.
1/3 of
That's wrong.
paternity
And
tests.
yeah, there should be consequences for that.
But there aren't.
Okay.
But there are. Where
And there
have the
should be.
feminists
So we agree
been?
on that. Next.
Right? You can agree, but you haven't covered it. And that's my point, is you guys don't care.
See, I think this is a really fucking dumb argument to make. Why aren't you talking about the thing I want you to talk about? You have a platform to talk about the thing you want talked about.
About equality. You want freedom at the expense of men.
Okay, sure. Next.
Do you think that men should have the right to opt out of fatherhood, since women have the right to opt out of motherhood?
No.
No, that is a choice you made. You made that choice. You do not get to opt out of it. It seems like I don't know if I can articulate this properly, but it seems like what Pearl's trying to do is just say, you know, women have more choices than men. It's like, okay, but not really though.
I
put a condom on.
Yeah, wear a fucking this should be like base level. If you don't want to have kids, wear a fucking condom.
You don't want to have children, put a condom on.
Or require him to wear a condom. That's equal.
Yeah.
That choice is equally irresponsible.
He's the one with the Johnson. He gets to decide what he does with it.
Yeah, I can't believe we're having this conversation in 2026. Wear a fucking condom.
I think I'm more of a feminist than you.
Sure. Go great. Congratulations. This is the longest 30 minutes of my life.
Who's Johnson?
Okay, I'm going to interject again if I can.
All right.
Is Pearl anti-condom? I'm kind of lost on what she's trying to do here. So, now, the closest she came to a point was women opt out of being a parent via abortion. Yeah, that happens. Men don't get a say in that. No, they don't. But like you still had sex. You still didn't have a condom on. You have to be prepared for the outcomes of your choice.
No, I was kidding. So one thing that I do think is happening is that there is a shift that is taking place in America. And I think you both have alluded to this a little bit. And so I'll ask Anna first if you would agree with this. Because you said that going into this debate, you thought a lot of these things were true.
Right.
And you started to see that maybe these things were not as true as you had believed. Do you believe that your previous belief was informed by nonsense, or the fact that states and legislatures and courts are changing what they're doing over the last few years in terms of alimony and parental time and that kind of thing?
I think that with more women participating in the workforce, it's hard to argue that, you know, women should get paid alimony when they have their own income. So yeah, I think that
If she has the right to kill it, shouldn't he have the right to abandon it? He can, but he might have to pay child support. Like it just is what it is. It's not about what any parent wants once the child is born. It doesn't matter. It's not about what they want. It's about the child.
the culture has changed, the workforce has changed, And as a result of that, the courts weigh whether or not something like alimony makes sense. And look, much like Pearl, I had heard the horror stories, and I was basing much of my worldview on situations like this based on anecdotes, basically. And so when you look at the statistics and the broader picture, you have a clearer idea of what's actually...
I mean, abandon as in not to pay for it? No, you shouldn't just not pay for a kid. And I get your point. I do. I'm not being a fucking...
Surprise, motherfucker. This is the missile guidance system, bitch. I'm about to show you why the U.S. doesn't have free health care.
I get your point. I'm not being a fucking asshole. I understand what you're saying. Like, men could have the... Should men have the right to just, like, not be involved if they wanted to? I don't think so. This is not something I've ever really thought about, honestly, because I don't know. It just never even occurred to me. Should they have the right? I don't know. My knee-jerk reaction is no, they shouldn't. Neither one of these women seem to know what a healthy relationship looks like, though. I don't know. Anna said she was happily married, so I think that's the closest we're going to get. Thank you. Corrupted.
happening in the aftermath.
You're ignoring the point. No, I'm not. I said, yeah, women can kill it, but men don't get to just say, I don't want anything to do with it. I get the point. I'm not sure really where I land on it. I think it's wrong. If you have a kid, if you had sex without a condom on and you just don't want anything to do with the kid, I think it's wrong. Because ultimately, the kid is the one who suffers.
Aftermath of a divorce.
Would you be willing to concede at least that maybe some of the reasons some of these things are shifting is because of people like Pearl and others who are drawing attention to these stories?
And you know, no, that's just not an equal scenario. Because there's no good outcome of that. Because it's either abortion or abandonment, and neither one of those things are good for the child.
Because I think we could all agree,
obviously,
that until recently, a lot of those stories were just stories you'd hear from other people, and it was not allowed in media at all. It was not discussed. Would you at least concede that?
I'm sure that there are advocates who have fought to maybe change the way these court cases play out, sure. I don't know about Pearl, though.
I understand. We're in debates. You can't give too much credit. Pearl, in your experience, the men that you talk to.
Long and short answer, Fustonia, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I haven't heard wonderful arguments either way on it, so my answer is I don't know.
Do you see a difference in terms of the age of those men, where maybe it's getting better for some, because I would take it that some of the guys who were a little older and have been through this in the past, the courts are starting to recognize and realize that maybe it's not very fair?
No.
No?
No.
Why, and why do you believe that? You think the courts are completely
there's men that write into my show every day just talking about how much they want to be fathers. So I hope it changes, but right now I would say no.
Do you think it's fair that all of the young women who were preyed upon as minors by Jeffrey Epstein are now experiencing yet another administration engaging in a cover-up? Or was it the female's fault for being preyed upon by a disgusting pedophile? I'm just curious.
You're touching a third rail there, Anna. I don't think you can do that.
What kind of question is that?
I think it's a pretty straightforward one.
Earl Ward, wow. I mean, that is a possible. That is a possibility.
That has nothing to do with the topic.
No, it does, though, because you're talking about the unfairness of our court system, especially as it pertains to divorces. But we're talking about a guy who got a sweetheart deal after raping minor girls, and then even after that, multiple administrations, Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter, engaged in a cover-up, ensuring that those victims would never get justice.
And this has to do with this.
I mean, you want to talk
not
about
sure.
the unfairness in the court system and how
Yeah, I'm not sure where Anna's going with this, but I don't think Pearl's ever going to rail too hard against Epstein.
terrible it is for men. What about how terrible it is for women?
Or not Epstein, Trump, my bad.
That has nothing to do with anything.
It has
I
a lot
think
to
I
do
think
with
in
what we're
fairness,
talking about.
you gotta admit that's an anecdote too in comparison to the overall statistics.
It's a pretty big anecdote.
He's a big anecdote,
Pearl said women who are trafficked made the decision. What?
but he's also an untouchable anecdote,
I'm going to need to see. I need to see something about that.
right? He's
I
a
don't think
little
it's
different than
untouchable.
most-
I think it's
than most
super
people.
touchable.
So let's go back to actually hold on. We got 10 seconds, so we won't hold on. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're actually going to take a break. We're gonna come off of the stage, and then we're gonna actually go up to the analysts and get their take on this first 30 minutes. All right?
Sounds
so take it away,
good.
Sam. Good job. That's the way it should always come back. A little pyro. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to come back. We have about 15 more minutes of open debate, and then we're going to get into the final statements. So we'll pick up our open debate. Pearl, I'll let you begin.
What's your plan when men stop doing the dirty and dangerous jobs that keep society running?
If you could hold your mic.
Sorry, I'll say it again.
Can you give me an example of which jobs you're referring to?
Logging, plumbing, crab fishing, oil rig.
Yeah, those are dominated by men. They have the physical capacity to do it. Men and women.
What?
I feel like Pearl has been arguing this whole time against the feminist straw man and not Anna. I think that's been the biggest issue of this so far.
Are built differently.
What's your
So you're
plan
right.
when they stop?
I mean, we're going to have a problem. Are you suggesting that
Why are men going to stop doing these jobs that they're paid extremely well for?
women should be forced to work on oil rigs and things like
What
that?
is your plan?
That's
I don't see Pearl's point here. Anna hasn't argued in favor of women working these jobs. I don't. Maybe I'm missing something. Check. Can you help me out here?
a
What do
ridiculous
men get out
question.
of doing those
I
jobs?
don't have a plan, Pearl.
They get paid really fucking well. Like, I think oil riggers make like $250,000 every 6 months that they're on the rig or something like that.
For a
Feminists
situation in
never
which
do.
men no longer do those jobs.
They never
Maybe you do it. I don't know.
What's your plan when men start walking away from marriage? What's your plan?
What is she okay, I'm really not sure what she's arguing here. Yeah, there's no plan if they stop. It'll just be fucked, I guess, if other men aren't doing that work. I don't know what is your plan when men stop getting married? What? Is that is that a thing? Is that what's happening?
So, do men or women get a raw deal from marriage? Because you just
What
said
is
men
your
walking
plan?
away
What
from
is
marriage.
your
So,
plan?
is he culpable for doing that?
What is your plan when men walk away from marriage?
Is he responsible for walking away from a
changing the
marriage?
topic. What is
or
your
is he just never guilty of
My
anything?
point is you shit on men.
I don't shit on
and
men.
yet-
I love men.
I don't think I have never in this debate, I haven't heard Anna just outwardly shitting on men for no reason. Like I'm lost.
The very microphone you're using was built by men. The building was built by men. And there's no gratitude.
That's why you need to talk to a MGTOW. You need to talk to a MGTOW. They can explain it much better than Pearl, who's regurgitating their talking point. But these are insane hypotheticals. Like, just because some MGTOW on the internet doesn't like the idea that men are working oil rigging jobs doesn't mean that men are just going to stop working oil rigging jobs. Like the point in and of itself makes no sense. Like I don't understand the point, like even generously, what the point could be.
Your appreciation, you just tell them they're not doing enough.
Got me. You got me. Yep.
So what's your plan when men start
Ooh, Kent Cosplay, subscribe with Prime. Missed you. Happy to see you back at it. Thank you very much, Kent.
walking away from society?
I never went anywhere. I never went anywhere. I'm just perpetually fucked by the YouTube algorithm on this or the Silent Sin channel.
What do you mean by walking away from society?
When men stop doing the dangerous jobs, when men stop getting married, when men stop having kids.
To be quite
What
honest
is
with
your
you,
plan?
if Americans...
That's never going to happen. Like, it's just not going to happen. Just because Pearl and her MGTOW buddies are perpetually offended, it does not mean that men are just going to walk away from society. That's just not a thing.
men decide they no longer want to do those jobs, very likely our government will import men from countries where they're
Import more.
willing to do those jobs. That's probably how
And
it's
what's
going to
your
work
plan
out.
when they date American women and then decide to stop too?
I'm not worried about that.
I wasn't listening. I was reading chat.
Probably
And
how it's
what's
going to
your
work
plan
out.
when they date American women and then decide to stop too?
What?
I'm not worried
Why is it up to Anna to come up to answers to these questions?
about that.
Of course you're not.
No. I never have.
If Pearl was so worried about American women and what they're doing, why doesn't she advocate for what she just did, but with like, I don't know, women who are more likely to, you know, fulfill the needs of the men that are currently here? Why doesn't she advocate for their immigration here?
Had
The
any
future
problems.
is not going to be great for feminists. You guys are going to get the equality that you're asking for. Men are not going to protect women in the streets. Men are going to stop signing up for the infrastructure jobs. The birth rate's going to...
I think Pearl's looking at the idea that younger generation, Zoomer, and I assume Gen Alpha, they aren't getting married and having kids at the same rates as previous. That's not a bad thing. Waiting till you're older to have, well, I say older, like wait until you're my age or like late 20s to have kids is not a bad thing. Like if you wait till you're mid to late 20s, that's good. Wait till then to have kids.
to keep falling, and the future is going to be bleak.
Okay. Listen, I think men and women serve important roles in society. I think that you have a shallow understanding of what I believe, number one, but more importantly, what the dynamic is between men and women in modern society. You're under this weird impression that the anecdotal evidence that you cite is indicative of the outcome of all marriages. In reality, study after study shows that married
Half of
couples
marriages
tend
end in
to be
divorce.
happier than single individuals.
Right? They're happy before the divorce.
Divorce is terrible. Divorce
And the
means
other
that the
thing
marriage
is,
didn't work
yeah,
out. Obviously,
you're-
they're not
you're
going to be happy in
attributing
the
it
middle of a
Like
divorce.
correlation doesn't mean causation. People marry happy people and date happy people in general. You're attributing it to marriage, but you're not going to marry someone that's a bitch.
The only person I've seen attributing anything to marriage here is Pearl. Like I'm lost.
Okay.
You're right, Pearl.
You know, what's really interesting is if you look at marriage rates,
Food,
which have dropped in the United States, not just in the United States, actually globally, you'll notice that the people who are less likely to get married happen to be those who are from a lower socioeconomic status.
Right, marriage is disappearing from the middle class. That's true.
From poor individuals, yes.
What's
Do
your point?
you wonder why?
Because women marry rich.
People forego marriage due to their own personal financial situation.
So women marry for money a lot.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going back to this.
Let me ask you something, Pearl.
Men.
Would you be willing to
88
marry a guy
men.
who's poor?
Men.
Because I married a guy.
That's a good question, actually. Pearl, would you marry a bum like me?
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going back to this.
Let me ask you something, Pearl.
Men.
Would you be willing to
88
marry a guy
men.
who's poor?
Men.
Because I
88
married a guy who was in debt and
Men.
loved the hell out of him. Best
All right.
thing in my life. Would you
That's
marry
very-
a guy who is
that's-
broke,
that's very
no
nice,
career,
Anna.
and in debt?
That's
Would
very,
you?
That's a good fucking question, actually.
That's very nice, Anna.
Would you?
So I'm going back
Answer
to the
question.
topic.
Would you marry
So,
a broke
all
guy in
right,
debt?
All right. So we're going back to the
Would
topic.
you? Would you?
All right. This is the nagging. This is the.
Pearl, you don't get to dictate the entire debate. You have asked Anna literally a million questions, and she comes back with one single question, and you go, no,
Nagging again. Okay, so
I'm
men,
pushing you to answer a
88
question because
all
you are
right,
judging
all right. Oh my
women, making a
God.
blanket statement
This is
of
the
who they
nagging.
would be willing to marry,
The
who they
nagging,
wouldn't be
make it
willing to marry.
stop.
But you're not answering the
It's not nagging. She asked you a question, dude. What? You've asked her like 18 questions in a row.
question
God help
yourself.
us.
Would you be willing to marry
Does
a
your
broke
husband
guy
have
in
to-
debt?
Does your husband have to listen
wouldn't,
to this?
would you?
Does he have to listen to this?
Oh, he loves it.
All right.
Can't get
so
enough of
can
it.
I go back
Do
to
you
the
not want to answer
question?
that? Why do you not want to answer that?
Yeah, why not?
Just say, no, I don't want to broke.
Love is love. Now
God, they had to fucking pull that out of her, huh?
back to the question. Men, 88% of the food. The power grid, 93% men. Transportation, 95% men.
Men
Yeah.
are important in
Communications,
society.
90% men.
Yes.
Material production, 78% men.
Okay.
Software, 80% men. Auto
Yes.
workers, 98% men. Carpenters, 98% men.
Okay, 2 times speed.
Electricians, 98% men. If you remove the top male-dominated jobs from the economy, you would have no running cars, no housing, no
Why? What is the point? Are we planning on all quitting our physical labor, auto industry, wire tech, electrician, plumber, carpenter? Are we all planning to quit our jobs? Because I wasn't informed. I wasn't put on the mailing list.
No electricity, no open machinery, no materials or fabrics, and no computers. There would be no buildings and no Amazon delivery.
I've never
What
once said
is
that
your
men
plan?
are not a
What-
very important
Feminists,
part of American
you want-
society.
You want men enslaved to women for nothing in return.
No, you're
Anna has never claimed to be a feminist. Like, Anna's not a feminist. She's an egalitarian, I guess might be the right word. But, like, what? I'm not. Again, I am beseeching chat for help. What is Pearl's point?
just making
That's
things
what you
up.
want. That's what you want. You want men on the hook for
Okay,
child
Pearl,
support.
what if I
You
said
want
that
Apparently, Pearl's never worked with an electrician because calling it a manly job.
men on the
gives
hook
you that
for
impression?
alimony.
Let her finish
What
her
if I
statement.
said
You
that
want-
gives you that impression?
You want men on the hook for child support. You want men on the hook for alimony.
You want men to not take responsibility for their own children.
You've been on the air for 20 years, and you have not advocated for men that are victims of paternity fraud. You want men to do all of the work, get no credit for nothing.
I do
and men aren't
political
going to do
news.
it.
Where has Anna said men don't deserve credit? I think she's arguing with the straw man, not the person.
Anymore. They're going to walk away, Anna. They're not going to do it anymore. And feminists, as you said, have no plan for when that happens. And I wish
What do you want
luck.
their plan to be? You think it's a feminist responsibility to
happened?
plan for this made-up society where all men decide
You know
they
what's
no
funny?
longer want to
You guys
work?
know what's funny? She actually advocated for left-wing policies the last 20 years. And then she got assaulted by a homeless person.
What does that have to do with the topic
because
at
it
hand?
Why is that funny? What does that have to do with the topic, and why is that funny? Like, I'm not sure what Pearl's point is. You got sexually assaulted after you advocate for left-wing stuff. That's what you get. No, what? That's dumb. This is dumb.
Is the result of what you voted for, Anna.
Yeah. First of all,
And so,
no one,
and want to know why? Because
you
Anna,
think I voted? Hold on. You think I voted for homeless people to go around sexually assaulting people?
Because Anna
By the way, I got sexually assaulted by a guy. Was that
do you know what
his
the other crazy
responsibility?
thing
Was
is?
that
God, Pearl, I think she realizes how bad that was. Now she doesn't even want to let Anna respond to it. Ooh. Oof.
something that he did, or was that my fault too?
All right, so the other crazy thing.
So no answer. Cool.
Is that Anna complains that women's opinions aren't taken seriously, while a whole event was.
What is this project for Studio Channel? What? Project for Studio Channel?
Was catered around her opinion. The other thing that's crazy.
What are you talking about?
Is Anna complains about women being oppressed, and yet she had less experience than her co-host at the Young Turks.
Hold on.
And
what the? Okay, I'm sorry. What? Again? What is Anna doing? Maybe I'm missing it. I don't.
Well, hold on. What were my complaints about women being oppressed? Can you be specific?
All right.
What did I say? Go ahead and quote me. Go ahead and quote me, because you make shit up.
Yeah.
And you just think like it's gonna stand.
nagging,
You've never
make
had
it
a
end.
strong woman
Make it end, the
challenge your
nagging, make it
bullshit
end.
assertions. So go ahead and
Make
tell
it
me
end.
what have I complained about?
Okay.
Give me the quote.
That's not nagging. She said, quote me with what I said. That's not nagging. Holy shit. Dude. Has Pearl done anything after this debate? I am. My guests are flabbered right now. Holy shit. That's not a gotcha. No, saying you got sexually assaulted and you're a Democrat is not at all a gotcha. And I guarantee you it did wake a lot of people up.
The nagging. You said women's opinions are not taken seriously.
When did I say that?
In a YouTube video.
There's two women on this stage right now for the headline event.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know it was this bad.
Are we gonna end?
When have I said women's opinions don't get taken seriously?
It's
you
kind
just
of
make
like
it
the
up.
roundabout. This is like eternal nagging.
The roundabout. You ask a question. She doesn't ask you questions. You ask a question. You ask a question. She responds with, okay, where did I say this thing you said I said? And she goes, you're nagging me. That's the roundabout. When did I say this? I didn't say this. That's not my opinion. Oh, with the nagging. Jesus Christ. Pearl turned out halfway through at some point, and you could see was when she was barging or barat. What did you mean here? Fuck, I know what the word is. I don't think barraging. Bombarding would be the right word. Anna with questions. Now it's all character attacks with no substance. Sorry, I'm retarded too, corrupted. Thank you for the 450.
What is your plan for when the 80% of women who work in the healthcare industry no longer want to do it? What's your plan?
I have a plan.
Yeah, what's your plan?
Let's give the jobs to the men. They'll do it better.
Now, this was the one clip that I saw out of this debate on, I think I was on TikTok. This was the one clip that I saw.
Because we see what's happening in the media. You know, women fly planes, they crash them. All women almost burned down California. You know, people are dying because
Here's her TikTok clip right now.
Because they want to make women feel better. People literally.
What I'm curious about is whether or not the Pick Me Act ever resorted into anything positive for you.
Ooh, what was that? Holy shit.
To anything positive. Curious about is whether or not the Pick Me Act ever resorted into anything positive for you.
She has a rich bitch right now based off of her pick me act. And fuck. Most women could fucking do it better too.
Are you done?
I'm not.
All right, so I'm not either.
Okay, keep going.
Now, the other thing is, women fly planes, they crash them. Women aren't CEOs.
What
they
are the
quit.
stats on
Most
that?
female.
Anna has changed a lot and has come out in changed a lot of opinion. She's gotten a lot of hate from the left. She goes on Piers Morgan and argues against Israel, as Cult said, a lot. It's like she is prepared for a debate. Pearl just isn't.
What are the stats on that?
You know, it's like feminists. They want stats that say water is wet. The
Yeah,
sky
I
is
want
blue.
empirical evidence,
right?
to
Because,
back up your arguments.
Because you want to be in control of telling people what to think and how to feel.
No, I want to be in reality. I want to live in a fact-based reality that requires empirical evidence, not your assertion.
Oh, I thought you said you were working on something for the speakeasy. I have an idea. I just have to order this. I have to finish cleaning, order the stuff on Amazon. Yeah, no, it's just a one-off video idea.
300. We all saw that plane crash on the East Coast. No one's making that up, Anna.
You do better when you're reading off your paper, so I'll give you some time to do that.
Oof.
In the future, because I'm sure you'll find yourself in more
All right,
of these
what if-
debates, I actually think that you could be an incredible debater, but you need to look at the broader picture, not just rely on anecdotes.
This is not nagging. She's having a conversation with you. Jesus Christ.
And don't make things up out of full cloth.
Okay. Feminism empowered women.
Dude, Anna came across so much better in this debate.
I'll take the tip, thank you. Feminism empowered women to sign up for previously male-dominated careers that they quit. 48 to 73% of female lawyers, depending on the type of firm, quit either as junior associates or at mid-career. 1/4 of them cite workload, burnout, mental health. 73% of women who got engineering degrees in the past 15 years either have never entered the field professionally or quit early mid-career. 55% of all female accountants quit before or at their mid-level career. The attrition rate for women in STEM is approximately 50%. These companies often bend over backwards to get women hired to the point of discrimination against male qualified candidates. Then women quit because they don't want to work.
Yeah, that's bad. Okay, next. That's bad. Don't do that.
The long hours or deal with the levels of stress for an extended period of time, with women being 2.5 more likely to take antidepressants than men. The money and prestige isn't worth it to them. They prefer lower pay, lower workload, and higher job security. Feminism has empowered women to go to college and take out loans they can't afford for career paths that will not generate them income to pay off those loans.
Men have higher debt than women.
Right, because
they do.
Because women put their biggest expenses on their husband's credit card.
What? No woman has ever put her basket weaving college loan on my credit card. What the fuck is she talking about?
According to Experian, and they look and
women are
account for those factors
women
that
are
you just mentioned.
Women are 85% of consumer spending. We lead when it comes to luxury brands.
Men have more mortgage debt, car loan debt, personal credit card debt,
right? Because they're
personal
expected to provide. Women make 80% of consumer buying decision. Again, if feminists really cared about equality, they would provide for the men.
They would what for the men?
Where's
Sorry,
king
I missed
treatment,
that.
fellas?
Wait, hold on. Pearl, rethink that statement. Oh my God.
Sorry, can you repeat
If
that?
feminists cared about equality, they would provide for the men. But yet, that is a small minority of women.
Wait, so let me get this straight.
Oh,
Honestly,
no.
your whole shtick is women should bend over backwards and do everything they can for men. My argument.
I'm an
My
egalitarianist.
Hold on, my argument is that men and women are both tremendously important to a functioning society. They should both be treated with respect. They both serve different jobs, different roles, and in order for society to work, we have to respect that.
Women are
but
not
you
equal.
seem
Women are
to
not-
put the onus and responsibility of everything onto women while providing cover for the bad behavior of men.
Women are not equally important because they don't do the equal
Men
work.
are equally
What?
important.
Women
I
are
never
not
said that they
equally-
weren't.
Women are not equally important because they don't do the equal amount of work.
Okay, so you're not an egalitarian.
Men have invented the majority of the inventions. Men have
Really?
started
Yeah.
Fortune 500 companies. Men do the majority of the infrastructure job. Men produce 90% of
Who's scrubbing the toilets
80%
after
of the
work?
food supply, 90% of the world's stuff.
Who's changing the diapers?
Not
Who's-
women.
who's
Not women.
raising
They're
the
not having
children
kids.
after
Women aren't
working
having kids
all
so
day
women
long?
Who's changing the diapers of these imaginary children? Oh my God. Gee, dude, fucking Pearl is actually retarded. Oh my God.
aren't doing it. Daycare workers now, to be honest. It's not the moms.
Not everyone grew up in an affluent.
Who works in daycare? Pearl. If it's Pearl's, ha ha, ha, it's daycare workers, not moms. Okay, who's working in daycare?
household like you. They need a dual income household in order to make ends meet in this economy.
Anna, you
live
talk,
in reality for
Anna,
one day
you
in your
talk,
life.
Anna, you talk for a living. It's kind
I
of
do.
rich for you to come at me.
What?
What? Bitch,
There's two guys in the audience going, yeah, Pearl.
what do you do for a living?
Ooh.
I also talk, but I can acknowledge it's not that hard of
Okay.
a job.
Talk a lot of
where
bullshit.
you pretend it's more important than it is.
What? No. Entertainment is an incredibly important job.
Right. Okay.
Well, since there were only about 30 seconds left, we'll just call it there. All right, good job. Give these debaters a round.
Dude, Pearl. Oof.
All right, we have 5-minute closing statements where you will not attack each other or call each other
The two guys need to shut up. She's not going to suck their dicks. Pearl probably doesn't suck dick.
names.
She probably thinks giving head is icky.
Anna, you're first.
I'm just going to go ahead and read what I couldn't get to in my opening statement, if you don't mind.
Pearl has a boomer mindset. the pull yourself up by your bootstrap mindset that Pearl seems to have. It's what Ben Shapiro has too. No, you can't. You can't just become rich. That's just not a thing.
Taking advice from someone like Pearl will ensure that you will be lonely and incredibly sad. If you have this dark view of an entire sex, nearly 50% of the country, I can't imagine living
Exactly true, Star. Not caring about entertainment is how we get what we have now.
day to day being a happy person. I don't know what Pearl actually believes. Part of me feels like this is a shtick. But I'm going to take what you say at face value and just think you genuinely believe it. And if you do genuinely believe it, I actually feel really bad for you. If you think women in general fit in this weird description where they're looking to take advantage of people, where they're looking to rip people off, where they're looking to get married only to divorce and steal a man's money, you live in an alternate universe. Sometimes
just have
divorces are
eyes.
ugly. Sometimes there are bad women who make things up, who lie about rape, and there should be consequences for that.
But there aren't.
The difference between you and me
Pearl,
is that
shut
I think
up.
the bad behavior of women deserves consequences, just like the bad behavior of men deserves consequences. That's
But
what
one's
equality
legal,
is.
one's not.
What you're advocating for is a society in which men get away with everything and women get blamed for everything. That's it. I mean, what else am I going to say?
All right, that was her close.
All right. I can go? Yeah.
You might as
All
well.
right.
Jump in there.
Feminists are mainly white, middle-class female liberals who have no idea how the real world works and yet want to advise you on how to live in it. Let me go through your complaints. Feminists want control over their bodies. You win.
I'm gonna put a poll up in the chat real quick.
You have 12 types of birth control, and you can actually Uber Eats a Plan B. You have abortion on demand, and in the states that it's not, it's simply a weekend trip. You have aborted an eighth of the world population. You win.
I think the world's a little overpopulated as it stands right now. Go ahead and vote in the poll in the chat. It's just a simple who won the debate.
Feminists wanted to fight against rape culture. You win. If a woman is raped, assaulted, or if she revokes consent after the fact, she has the power to get a man fired from his job, kicked out of school, or thrown in jail.
Yeah, that's wrong.
One, feminists. Women want to be free of traditional gender roles? Fine. Men invented the dishwasher, the Roomba, the air fryer.
Men didn't invent women.
Fast food and Uber Eats. There are meal prep services and cheap restaurants. You win. Women wanted to have a career first and get married later in life. Men allowed women to come into the workforce and have millions of dollars in funding, pushing women into male-dominated fields and scholarships, and invented IVF to give us another 5 years of fertility. The husbands pay for the IVF, and they are pushing to get it taxpayer funded. You win. Women wanted to be sexually liberated instead of getting married. Men invented Tinder and Hinge so random men can literally come to your door. The men from your hometown are not good enough. Men invented social media so you can get flown out by the highest status men in the world. Men did not.
I'm sorry. I'm not. Okay, yeah, men invented most good things. Uh-huh. Is there more? Am I missing something? Like, again, I don't get it.
Women did not want to work labor jobs? Fine. Men invented social media so you can talk into a microphone and get paid. You can now work from home so you can have a family and be a mom. You can make money selling your nudes on the internet and become a billionaire.
If I could do that, motherfucker, you better believe. You know how many fucking, you know how many war down I would have bought the goddamn the $300 box that I wanted on Amazon or on eBay if I was just selling my nudes. You would be so lucky.
Women did not want to give birth? Fine. Men invented surrogacy so another woman can do it for you. Women wanted to be thin without working out. Now you have Ozempic. You want to look younger? Fine. Men invented Botox, hair dye,
all right, 2 times
filters
speed.
on your phone, nose jobs and a nose, plastic surgery, lash extensions, makeup, and AI to make you look thinner.
You should look into it.
You can now wait till 40 to have a baby, freeze your face, work in an air-conditioned office, earn a living sitting on your ass, getting fat, spending money you don't have, marry someone to pay it off, divorce him, put him on alimony and child support, get a Roomba, abort.
Box, yeah. I want the what was it? The Stompa box. Yeah, the Stompa Boys Battle Force box. Yeah. The only reputable site that I can find it on is, well, what's this one? Sold out. $191? No fucking chance. Is there? No, page gone. Why is it even showing up on Google if the page is fucking gone? $335 on Amazon. Yeah.
Your kid, have unprotected sex on camera, get paid for it, order any cooked food to your door, get a self-driving car, and then complain to men that they caused you to be lazy and fat. You are now empowered to have 10 abortions, bang 300 men, take a DEI position that pays $300K a year, Uber Eats a Plan B.
Yeah, she said the dishwasher was invented by a man, and I said men didn't invent women.
Study underwater basket weaving and get sympathy when your degree pays no money. Feminists are spoiled, liberal, progressive women that have no idea how good they have it. You guys will never be happy until men are nothing but empty shells who are slaves to the system, fueled by feminists' selfishness, spending habits, and poor choices. Feminists don't care about equality because if they did, there would be equal rights for men. There would be equal men's shelters. There would be equal funding for men's cancer. There would be real equality. I checked 20 different different feminist websites and have not found one that mentioned a single issue that asked for men to be equal. It only asked for...
You know what that reminds me of? It's a tweet I saw a long time ago. It's like, I just looked at the top 50 actors on IMDb and none of them were women. Yeah. That's what happens when you look at actors, not actresses.
Special treatment. Feminism has empowered women to destroy this country through the death of 1,000 cuts. Feminism is not about equality, it's about insidious domination. It has been a slow creep to where women are complaining about their non-existent oppression. Men have figured this out because they're highly adaptive and the math is not mathing. I am curious to know feminists' plan when men refuse to stop providing, protecting, and maintaining the civilization.
I'm obsessed with the guitars. I instantly thought Stompbox. No, it's the Warhammer 40,000 Battle Force Stompa Boys, and it's really fucking cool, and I really want it, but I don't sell my nudes on eBay, so I can't afford it, but this is what it is. It's got a big-ass Stompa in it. It's got boys and Ludas. It's got fucking truck, Burna Boys. Not Burna Boys. No, those are Burna Boys.
You enjoy corrupting. Feminists are about to fuck around and find out. Feminists...
Most importantly, a Stompa.
Feminists have won. You destroyed every single male group that used to be strictly for men, like Boy Scouts. You can falsely accuse men of rape, harassment, and endless lawsuits. Feminists have more political power, voting power, and spending power than any other group. Everybody caters to you. Corporations cater to you because women are the primary purchasers. Politicians because they need the vote. Men have to pay child support to a rapist. Men are not believed when they're abused. Men have to die at work and at war. Men have to pay child support for 18 to 21 years. Men have to register in selective service. Men are not given additional consideration for college admissions, jobs, opportunities, and scholarships. Children are not DNA tested at birth, leading to paternity fraud, which is not prosecuted at all. And men will more than likely deal with this in their lifetime.
Yeah, it's like walking into expecting feminist websites to advocate men's issues. It's like walking into a Muslim restaurant and going, why aren't you serving bacon cheeseburgers, man? What's the deal there? Why no bakey cheese?
Men are the majority of the homeless. Men are the majority of the suicides. Women can hit men and men can't hit back. Feminism...
Yeah, men shouldn't be hitting women. If that's your argument there, Pearl, I think you fucked up a little bit. Whoops, wrong button. I think you fucked up there a little bit.
Has empowered women to destroy men, and congratulations, 1.6 million men have committed suicide. What more do you want, Anna?
All right. That is the debates. Let's give it a big hand for these two debaters.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think that went as well as she thought it did.
All right, so if you're here in...
Holy shit. Oh, boy, howdy. Whew. Whew. That was a rough one. That was a rough one. Let's go ahead and end the poll there. Let's see. 40 votes in, 90-10 split think Anna won the debate, and I have to agree. That was that was slimy way to end. Yeah, wow, oof. That was bad. That was bad. But guys, on that bad note, I am getting the fuck out of here. I need eats. Guys, thank you for coming and hanging out. Thank you for an incredibly fun show this afternoon. I will see you guys tomorrow for Sin Day Wednesday at 3 p.m. EST on the Sin and Sash channel. And then I will see you again Friday. Guys, have a lovely, lovely evening, and I will see you all tomorrow on the Sin